State Opera House in Berlin. In the miners' dispute, Mr. Joseph Jones has refused the mine owner's offer of 5p to 1 3 over the country and has reiterated the demand of
Morning,
1
Nanny.
3.
Morning.
How's your rheumatism, Nan? Oh, it's jolly cold in here.
And no wonder. That Jim Tapper late with my coal again.
Oh, he's clearing the snow away from the front door.
It's still not right. You should have brought my coal up first.
Never mind, I'll get some from Daddy's dressing room.
Thank you, dear. He's all topsy-turvy, that laddie. Comes of the commander being away. I'll need to speak to Gates about him.
I suppose Daddy is coming back today. I mean, he was supposed to be here last night. And it's so unlike him not to have let us know.
Maybe his train was held up. There was a terrible crash at Chingford. I heard it in the 9 o'clock news.
Yes, and the snow's still piling up.
Yes.
Oh, Nanny, may I, for the birds?
Yes, of course, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, you small crumbs, dear. They haven't got your teeth, wee mites.
Nanny, you're free.
Oh, nonsense. Not like that. You'll smother it. See? Small pieces. And at a time, you see? If a thing's worth doing.
It's worth doing well.
Ah, well. You'll thank me one day. Off with these stockings.
Oh, Nanny, not again.
I'm not having you going about with children's.
I didn't remember an onion cure in my medical studies.
There's a many a thing that's good for you that's not found in books. I can still remember my granny, once it came October. She would line us all up, even the weest of us, poor wee Johnny, and we would all be rubbed for the whole month until the winter weather came in. And we had nary a chilblain, not even when we had to wade the burn when the bridge was collapsed.
I smell ghastly.
Oh,
You won't be very popular at the party tomorrow.
What party's that, Prince?
Oh, Nanny, we told you, Aunt Phyllis's party.
Oh, there, it slipped my mind. And your case not packed.
We can pack ourselves.
Yes, but I would prefer to know that you hadn't forgotten anything. The times I've had to post things on.
Nanny, we're only going down to London for 2 days. It's not a world cruise.
Nevertheless, I want the case here before it's closed. And what train would you be going with?
Oh, the 1:20 probably, provided Daddy gets back, of course. And Vicky's got an appointment at the Army and Navy.
To have my hair done.
Well, it looks fine as it is.
Oh, but Liz says it's not grown up enough and it's going to be a very grown-up party.
Well, you know, Nan, one of Aunt Phyllis's arty
None
parties.
of it being chopped off, mind. The commander would have a fit. Vicky, I know that look.
Promise, Nanny. I wonder where Daddy has got to.
Oh, don't you worry, dearie.
Yes, but Nan, it's so unlike him.
Perhaps he went to the theatre last night.
Alone?
Why didn't you ring Granny? She'd know. Well, he was going to change a book for her at the Times.
Oh, why not? Anything's better than wondering.
And when you're there, tell Gates about my coal. Second time this week Jim Tapper's been late with it. Now, Vicky, no leaving off your best, dear. I can imagine the kind of party your Aunt Phyllis gives. That stuffy wee flat, all hot air and cigarette smoke, and then going out into the cold without...
Oh, Nanny.
Oh, well. You wearing a nice wee yellow dress?
It's not grown up enough. Liz is lending me one of hers.
Oh, well, if I know Liz, it'll need pressing. I don't think that girl knows what a hanger's for. Well, if I'm to do it, I better have it now.
Dear Nan.
Oh, yes, I don't need any buttering up, thank you.
Naval and Military Club? Has Commander Bourne left yet? Would you? Thank you very much. He hasn't been to Granny's, and apparently she waited in yesterday because of the book.
Oh, Lord.
I got the brunt of it. It isn't as if I have nothing to do. Oh, are you quite sure? Yes, I see. No message. Thank you very much. I can't understand it. According to the porter, he left the In-N-Out yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yes, and apparently he was in a terrific hurry. He asked the porter to keep the taxi waiting while he was packing his cases.
Mysteriouser and mysteriouser. Perhaps Aunt Phyllis will know where he's got to.
Might, I suppose.
Why didn't you give her a ring?
Why is it me that always has to do everything?
Only because you're so efficient, Liz, darling?
Ah, Gates. Nanny's complaining that Jim's been late with her coal.
All right, miss, I'll tell him.
This slip's gone at the seams. That sister of yours will wear her things too tight.
Oh, I'd so love to skate like those Olympic champions. You know, the ones I saw at Garmisch. They look so lovely when they twirl round and their skirts spin up like fans.
Should be ashamed of themselves.
Whatever for?
What's attractive is what's hidden.
Expect Klaus will be skiing now. Oh, Nanny, you can't imagine. It's so beautiful at the von Heinig chalet. I do wish you could see it. You'd love Germany.
No, thank you. I wouldn't be comfortable there.
Why ever not?
I've never forgiven the Germans for killing my poor wee brother Johnny.
Nanny, you never told us.
No.
Still, that was a long time ago.
Not to me, Vicky. Not to me. It's a strange thing, time, you know. I can recall the commander saying once how uneven it is. Something bad happens and a day lasts forever. And then when you're happy, everything flashes by like Winky. Oh, you'll find out.
Like waiting for the end of term. I remember the last day but one. It used to go on and on.
That is the limit. Has completely disappeared.
Were you born in a field?
He left the in and out yesterday, and neither Granny nor Phyllis have heard a word from him. What happens if he doesn't get back by tea time?
My hair appointment. If he doesn't get back soon, I'll have to cancel it.
Never was needed.
I don't see why you should. We'll go.
Liz.
Well, it's so ridiculous. I mean, it's not as if he actually needs us here now, today.
I cannot agree. You can't go running off just anyhow.
But now we're not just running off.
It's your duty to be here when your father comes back from London.
Well, damn duty.
Elizabeth Bourne.
Well, it's also stupid.
It's expected.
But, Nan, if you think about it, why?
Because
convention, that's why. It's not as if I made a scene about having to stay here instead of studying in London.
Well, I would hope not.
I thought you were jolly good about it.
So did I. So did Mummy.
Your poor mother away in a foreign land, and Germany at that, are worried out of her mind.
Yes, but that's no reason why I have to be here now.
I don't mind staying. We haven't enough money to go to London anyway.
I seem to be permanently trapped in this place.
If you're going to talk like that, I'd rather you did it somewhere else and not in my schoolroom.
In fact, I think I'll ring Phyllis again and ask her to take the responsibility.
For what?
Well, if she says it's all right for us to go to London and not wait for Daddy, well, she can explain for us.
Well, I hope you know what you're doing.
No, but I think it's worth a try.
Wait for me.
Morning, Jim.
Morning, Miss Elizabeth.
Hello.
Speaking. Pour your coal, Nanny.
Oh, better late than never. And it's Miss Benson to you, if you please.
Yes, Miss Benson.
And that brass scuttle goes back to the commander's dressing room.
Right.
No, on second thoughts, you better leave it here.
Oh, that's right. I'll take it. Don't
I would prefer you to leave it here.
Right.
Leave the door open. Hey, oh, Irene, you startled me.
Good heavens, you look as if you've seen a ghost, Nanny. I brought you a cup of tea, love.
Oh, thank you, dear. It's that young laddie.
Hmm?
Still gives me the creeps.
Oh,
I don't know. There's something about him I don't trust.
Fred finds him quite polite.
They say Dr. Crippen was quite polite.
Oh, poor Mr. Rudyard Kipling's still very poorly. Grievously ill, it said on the wire, still not last. Yeah. Oh, and dear John Gilbert dead. Hey, just fancied, he was only 39.
I see.
Oh, he was a fine, upstanding man. Do you know, Nanny, I remember just as if it was yesterday, seeing him in The Merry Widow.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they don't make films like that anymore, Nanny, not since Talkies came in.
Mm-hmm. Now, you'll see there'll be another death. They always happen in threes.
Something's bothering you, dear, isn't it? Something extra, I mean.
Something to do with January. I never trusted January.
Aye, well, now you come to mention it.
And the commander has not returned.
Oh, don't I know it. I had a lovely piece of turbot for dinner tonight. Well, of course, it was just wasted on the girls. And it's too good for kedgeree.
He left his club in London yesterday.
Well, I never. Might he have gone skiing, do you think?
Oh, the commander would never go abroad without letting us know. Why do you say that, Irene?
Oh, I just wondered, with the snow and everything.
Oh, I see.
Mrs. Cartland's gone skiing abroad.
Eh?
Yes, I met Mrs. Wendell in the butcher's. She goes over to Layford to clean for them. Oh, though with her knees, I don't know how she manages. It's a miracle. Anyway, I heard her telling Mrs. Potter from the post office. Mrs. Cartland went up to London 2 days ago. To do some shopping before catching a boat.
Personally, I can never see much sense in these winter sports, all these silly clothes they have to buy. Paid a fortune for Vicky's outfit. 3 yards at the most in it. Where was she staying, did Mrs. Wendell say?
She didn't know. It was some hotel or other in London. She wasn't sure.
Oh, I wish the commander would telephone.
Oh, Nanny, probably the wires are down because of the storm.
No. Liz was on nearly all morning. I shudder to think what the bill will be like.
Oh, then he probably couldn't get through, Nanny.
Eh? Oh, of course. Oh, why did I not think of that? That's it. Oh, you're a great comfort, Eileen.
Oh dear. 1:10. We've missed the train.
Which means you won't be able to have your hair done.
Don't worry, Liz. I don't mind, really.
Then you should. You don't want to go to this party, do you?
Well, I know it's very kind of Aunt Phyllis, but
Vicky.
I shan't know anyone. All Aunt Phyllis's friends are London people.
So unadventurous.
That's not fair.
I don't feel fair. Felicity Bendell's in again. Ghastly dress. Trouble with you is you're too self-contained.
No, I'm not. I just have my adventures inside me in my head, that's all.
Dear Vicky, sometimes I think I'm a nearly woman. 22 and nearly a doctor. Nearly escaped from here. Nearly loved someone very much. Nearly like Aunt Phyllis.
I love Aunt Phyllis.
So do I. But I don't want to be like her.
I say, don't you think we ought to ring Aunt Phyllis and tell her we've missed the train?
No. We'll wait till 5 o'clock in case Daddy gets back, and then we'll still have time to catch 6:40.
Guess what I've got?
Terry's chocolate buttons.
Nope.
You found my brooch.
Pigs might fly. Your button hook.
Listen. It's Daddy, thank goodness. Excuse me, Nan.
Oh.
It was only the postman.
Only? I've got a letter from class. I think I'll go up to my room and read it if no one's mind.
That's right, dear. You go and read
Well,
it.
Daddy or no Daddy, I'm determined to catch the 6:40.
Why you can't wait and go to London tomorrow, I will never know.
Because...
Oh, it's no use fretting about your father. Come on up to the schoolroom and help me wind some wool. Busy hands make the time pass quicker.
All right, Nanny, I'll be up in a minute.
In some ways you're very like your Aunt Phyllis when she was your age.
In what way, Nanny?
Stubborn.
Am I really like Aunt Phyllis?
Well, a wee bit. She was always headstrong, but you're steadier.
Steadier?
Yeah, well, you get that from your father. Oh, not that Mrs. Bourne isn't.
Oh, no, of course
But
not.
he always follows things through.
And Aunt Phyllis doesn't?
Well, not if there are any difficulties. Your Aunt Phyllis always likes everything to be perfect, without any great effort on her part, I may say. I often think that's why she never married. Too much like real life. And Phyllis always preferred her dreams. Well, that's done.
Yes, I think I'll go and see how Vicky's getting on.
Thank you, dearie.
Vicky? Can I come in?
Yes, do.
Well? Well, what? Klaus's letter. What news?
Oh, there's lots of news.
Well, go on.
Pages and pages.
Well, what is it?
Oh, I don't know. It's so different from his other letters.
But in what way?
It's as if he isn't there. He's so stiff and formal. He's on and on about youth rallies. I suppose the Germans are more patriotic than us.
That's what frightens me. Is that why you're upset?
It's just that usually when he writes, it's about him and me. Little things. Precious things.
Vicky, you're very young. Sorry. That was a silly thing to say.
I know he loves me, but
You need to hear him say it. To read it.
you think I'm silly, don't you?
No, I don't. I don't think you're silly.
Sometimes I dream about Klaus. We're laughing together, and he's saying such wonderful things to me.
Lucky you having such nice things to dream about. I don't.
I have nightmares, too, ever since I came back from Germany.
Miss, are you up there?
Yes, Nanny.
Well, come on straight down. There's a telegram come. Never liked telegrams ever since the war. Addressed to Bournes, knew the Elizabeth wrote it.
Might be Daddy's call-out from the Naval Reserve. He said he might get something. It's from Daddy. And he's in Freiburg.
Freiburg?
Visiting Mummy and Anne until 18th. Then home via Berlin. Everyone fine. Hold fort. Love from us all, Daddy.
Well, I'm blessed.
What an extraordinary thing for him to go and do all of a sudden. Dash off abroad.
Liz, you don't think Anne's doctor sent for him, do you?
No, he wouldn't have said they were fine if she was any worse. That isn't the last straw. I mean, he might at least have telephoned us. Here we all were, worrying ourselves sick and not knowing what to do, and he's gone and dashed off abroad.
He could have taken us with him. I could have seen Klaus.
Oh, damn Klaus.
Elizabeth.
Well, I'm sorry, Nanny, but I'm angry. I really am. Right, we telephone Aunt Phyllis, and with any luck, we'll be able to catch the 6:40. Nanny, you don't mind, do you?
Well, I wouldn't need to, would I?
Oh, Liz, we can't go and leave Nanny all alone in the house.
But there's gates.
Oh, the lodge is a long way
You're
from
just trying to get out of this party, aren't you?
No, she's not. She's being a well-brought-up, considerate girl.
But, Vicky, you promised.
You're always thinking of yourself.
That's not fair.
Yes, it is. You're always running away somewhere.
Good afternoon, ladies.
Oh, Gates, sir. Miss Vicky and I are going to London this evening, and the commander's abroad at the moment. So, do you think you could stay in the house for a couple of nights?
Certainly not. I'm a perfectly all right young lady. Stop interfering.
But, Nanny...
As things are, I prefer to be left alone in peace.
But are you sure?
Once my mind's made up, it stays made up. You should know me well enough by now.
Well, you're very welcome to come and sleep at the lodge if you'd rather, Nanny.
As long as I'm warm and dry, I'll be perfectly all right here. Thank you all very much. Now, for goodness sake, telephone your Aunt Phyllis and be done with it.
But we'll be back the day after tomorrow.
Well, I would hope so.
Vicky, go and finish packing.
I've done it.
And put the case in the schoolroom.
I have already, Nanny.
Well, I hope you haven't crushed the dress I've pressed for you.
Oh, Nanny, you do spoil it.
Well, look at the result.
Luggage ready for inspection, Nanny.
That's right. Yes. Did you put on clean underwear
Yes, Nanny.
this morning? And mind, no speaking to strangers, not even respectable-looking middle-aged women.
Oh, Nanny, you've got white slavers on the brain.
Well, forewarned is forearmed. You know, I heard this terrible story about a lady who was sitting next to a girl in the theatre. At only 19 the girl was. She was there with her fiancé. Well, suddenly she felt faint, and this woman offered to take her through to the cloakroom. They were never heard of again. Jabbed with a hypodermic needle the girl was, and her poor daddy's hair turned white overnight. I saw that. Clean handkerchiefs.
Yes, Nanny.
Well, I think you've forgotten something, though. Your fares to London.
Money.
Money, yes. You forget your head, sure. I wouldn't be at all surprised. Now, there. And, now this is just this once, mind. And I'll expect to be paid back within the month, understand?
Oh, you are a darling. Thank you.
Put this away. You can never be too careful with that Jim Tapper around.
Are you sure you're going to be all right all alone in the house, Nanny?
Well, it'll just be too bad if I'm found battered about the head, dead in my bed.
Oh, Nanny.
Oh, go on, it's your... Oh, dear, dear. The wee birdies.
Bye-bye, Nanny. Vicky, have you got my book? I've packed it. Oh, Mrs. Gates, we shan't have time for tea, I'm afraid. Sorry.
Oh, I've got time. I've got to eat something.
So I should hope you can't travel on an empty stomach. No, you don't like those, Miss Vicky. These are salmon paste.
Oh, good. Greedy guts. And Mrs. Gates, we'll be back for dinner the day after tomorrow.
Oh, very well, Miss Elizabeth. Come on.
Come on, Vicky.
I've got to find my gloves first.
You are hopeless. Vicky, remember, we're going to this party to enjoy ourselves and to meet new people. So no sitting in a corner.
Oh, heck, where's the other one?
Well, try the other pocket. Vicky, promise about the party.
I forgot to cancel my hair
Oh,
appointment.
it's too late now. Do come on.
Oh, hold on.
Gates, we're just coming. Oh, look, what is it now?
I'm just getting my scarf.
Well, I should think so. It's very cold.
If we miss this train, I'll murder you. It's my first party for ages. Mrs. Gates, goodbye, and look after Nanny.
Do come on.
Well, really?
Have a good time, miss.
Who is it?
It's only me.
Why could you not say so? And shut the door before the draft puts my fire out.
I just came up to see if you were all right.
Oh, yes, I'm quite all right, thank you.
There's no need to fear. I checked the doors and windows, but Eileen says if you'd feel happier, I was to bring you down to the lodge.
No, I'll be all right here, thank you. I prefer my own bed. Sweetie,
Oh, that's kindly. Though they do stick to the dentures.
I've still all my own teeth.
Ah, so you're always saying. Now, are you quite sure that you'll be all right? Oh, and don't go worrying about Jim Tapper. He's a side rough, but there's no real harm in him.
Oh, this is maybe no smoke without fire.
You can't let fire alone, can you?
Don't you be cheeky. Yes.
Well, if you're quite sure, I'll be off.
Quite sure, yes, thank you. And thank Irene for her consideration.
Ah, she's a good woman, is Eileen.
Ah, she is.
Well, good night, Nanny.
Good night, dear. Reginald Foot. That should be nice. At the organ. Not working. Oh, my. Oh, that young villain's cut the wires. Oh, God save me. Oh, Lord help us.
They said it would clear later. Oh, Phil, which shall I wear? These or these?
Oh, those. You freeze like that.
Don't you start.
Oh, Nanny. They don't change, do they? Cast into moulds as nursery maids and preserved in aspic for the rest of their lives.
You'll never guess what she did to Vicky's feet.
The dreaded onion.
Yes.
And though we crossed the burn, we had nary a chilblain. Well, where is Vicky?
Oh, she's fretting about the way I've done her hair. She thinks it's too outre.
But I thought it was perfectly charming.
Well, you know what she is. She worries.
Covering her shyness. Not like us.
No. Thank you.
But it was something she said this afternoon. I can't quite remember now, but I got the feeling that she'd much, much rather be back at home.
Oh, you know what she is. She thinks she'll be a wallflower, among other things. Phil, could I have a drop of your Chanel?
Oh, of course.
Oh, thank you.
Well, they should be here by now. It's gone 8.
Oh, hell!
I always get this ghastly feeling it's the wrong day. I suppose it is the 16th.
Until midnight.
Can I help?
Oh, Vicky.
I don't look too silly, do I?
You look lovely. Now, why don't you make yourself useful and go out and get me another ashtray from the kitchen, a bottom right-hand cupboard. And then when the guests arrive, you can take their coats into my bedroom.
Oh, couldn't Liz? She's so much better at parties than me.
So will you be.
Well, I shan't know anyone.
You must just try.
Vicky doesn't realise, does she?
What it is to be young. Dutch courage.
Pass, Master?
Oh, more than that. I have 2 very good-looking nieces, and I'm quite proud to be your aunt. Oh, but darling, do remember, no Aunt Phyllis at the party tonight. Just Phyllis, don't forget.
No, I won't. You've no idea how much I've been looking forward to this.
Escape?
Yes, well, something like that. Oh, dear, I look rather pale.
Well, have a go at my rouge pot.
But I get so flushed easily.
Oh, you can rub it off afterwards. It's first impressions that count.
Yes. Oh, dear, what shall I do?
Just be useful and smile. I have a particular reason for wanting the party to go well. Go ahead.
Hello? Oh, Lord, I'm the first.
And all the more welcome for that, Gwyneth. Now, may I introduce Miss Victoria Bourne, Vicky, Mrs. Gwyneth Abercrombie. She's scout.
A contribution. It's probably revolting. How do you do?
How do you do? May I take your coat?
You may, if you can call it that. Altered it from one of my grandmama's carriage rugs, and I don't think I've been entirely successful. Oh, damn and blast.
Oh, I'm sorry, that was my fault.
Nonsense, it's my sewing, lovey. Might as well have used me blow lamp. Oh, hello.
Oh, this is my sister, Elizabeth Bourne. Yes, this is Mrs. Gwyneth.
Abercrombie, widow, sirs under the sod, thank God. Good stable, your family. Oh, excuse me. Better take a squint at the old visage while I'm still sober.
Liz, may I introduce Jonathan Selby? He's in films with Corder and the only one who's not Hungarian, and he hates goulash. His long-suffering fiancée, Miss Susan Miller, who does a column in the Bystander, so we'll have to watch our P's and Q's.
Hello.
Lovely to see you. Oh, Emil. Liz. Emil Schwartz, a brilliant young pianist from Stuttgart, studying at the Royal College.
How do you do?
How do you do?
He must meet Vicky.
Oh, what a good idea.
Vicky! There's someone here I want you to meet. How dare Hannah! May I introduce Herr Emil Schwartz, Miss Victoria Bourne, who's not one of my pupils.
May I assist you? They're much too heavy for you.
Oh, nice to run into you, Schwartz. A ram lot, these Central Europeans. Too much soup. Bourne, where's the mother's room?
I do wish you wouldn't use these dreadful working-class expressions.
They're all the rage. Oh, those are spiffy. Then you've got splendid ears. Oh, I say, punch. Lovely lethal stuff.
Come along, everyone. Lovely rum punch.
I mean, if they think Myra Hess deserved an Order of the British end. I don't see why I shouldn't have been given an itsy-bitsy CV. I mean, one thing you can say about my work, it does last. Concrete and iron.
Smoke gets in your
Hello, Ambrose.
Hello, madam. I'm sorry I'm so late. I got hung up at the Cafe Royal. That dreadful little toad Agate going on and on and on about the Weimar Theatre. Really, critics should be dunked in coffee like donuts.
Gwyneth, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, may I introduce Miss Elizabeth Bourne, Mr. Ambrose Fielding. How do you do?
How do you do? I thought Rosa was coming.
Rosa?
Rosa Lewis.
Oh, no, she isn't after all. Edith telephoned to say that they'd got so drunk they'd set fire to the famous White Fox Cave. She says you can smell burnt fur all the way down Jermyn Street. May I introduce Miss Victoria Bourne, Emile, of course you know.
Yeah.
Mr. Ambrose Fielding, the novelist. Hello.
How do you do? Well, what about a drink?
Oh, forgive me, I'm sorry.
Cigarette?
Perhaps just one. Why do you study here when there are so many marvelous conservatoires in Germany?
People make places, not institutions.
Oh, I do so agree. I have some marvelous friends in Germany. Do you know the von Heinigs? I've been staying with them in Munich whilst being finished.
Finished?
After school, girls get sent abroad, English girls, to be, well, finished off.
Finished off in Germany, how appropriate.
Don't you approve?
It's not for people like me to approve. It's not a word we are allowed.
I don't understand.
I am a Jew, or as some people would say, a Yid. Most of my family were also finished off by the Germans. That is why my parents now live in a small flat in Hampstead, instead of a large house with an orchard outside Stuttgart.
Who's your favorite composer?
How definite you English are. Now let me see. Bach, of course, Bach. Then there's Schoenberg.
Who's he?
I don't think your friends would approve of him. So let us change the subject. You are very pretty.
No, I'm the ugly duckling of the family. My sister has all the beauty and brains and charm.
But you're enchanting. Forgive my presumption, but you must make allowances for foreigners. You have great tenderness behind your eyes.
You're making me blush.
Which makes you even prettier.
There's my sister over there. See how beautiful she is.
You mean to say you haven't met him yet, Aldous? Aldous Huxley?
No, not even once.
Oh, dear, we must remedy that oversight, mustn't we? If only we'd known each other last November. I could have taken you to their firework party. The family's so droll. All thick ankles and sparklers whirling round the bonfire, going on about the finer points of genetics and limericks. That grand old Bernard Shaw, above all, hated a bore. It's the people with money who try to be funny, whilst the wits amongst us are poor.
Yes, quite.
Oh dear, I'm boring you. I do tend to bore at parties. Have lunch with me tomorrow at the Cafe Royal.
Oh, well, how kind. I have to go back to the country in the morning.
The country? Whatever for?
I promised. Besides, I have my younger sister with me.
Well, she appears to be doing very nicely by herself, whereas you...
I hope you've read A River Under the Bridge, Liz. It's terribly good.
Oh, how very delicate. They're very well reviewed, too.
No, I haven't, actually. Phil, may I take those one for you?
Oh, thank you.
How's Britain's answer to Hemingway? Bearing down? Or is it up?
I'd so love to be with Claire. You should come to mine.
I do terribly.
It would be my pleasure.
I say, Liz, isn't it a gorgeous party?
Yes, gorgeous.
I've just been telling Emile what a beautiful and popular sister I have.
Indeed she has.
Liz, change your mind about lunch tomorrow.
Yes, all right. Could we make it an early lunch? Say 12:30. I have to catch the train at Paddington at 2:45.
12:30 then, of course. The Cafe Royal, back bar. Bucks Fizz, a delicious lunch in the balcony. Miss Elizabeth Bourne.
Yes?
I love capricious women. Women who are unpredictable. You know, there's one thing I cannot resist. It is a woman who changes her mind. Whereas what I can resist, and very easily, is a woman who hurls herself at your head. I prefer women with distance, who give meanly, who do not adore one. 12:30 tomorrow, then. Yes?
Yes.
Thanks for a lovely party, Phyllis. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
See, I knew it was an Epstein by the eyes. That bastard always gets what he wants. His little Kitty, his daughter, you know, got born with them. Now, you can tell my stuff by the ears. It's unmistakable. I just love loaves. That man will crucify Phyllis.
What man?
Ambrose Fickle Fielding. He'd never marry her, not if she was Barbara Hutton, and he adores celebrities.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, granted, my dear. But I know love when I see it, and she loves him. I never had any illusions myself. Well, I better go home while I'm still in one piece. So, Phyllis, I'm off.
I must go too. It's getting late. College tomorrow. Thank you for a most delightful party.
Time to go.
Oh, no, please don't.
I'm sorry, but I really must fly. Divine party, my darling. I'll telephone you.
Hold on, Ambrose. You can give me a lift in your taxi. Life's not all pleasure, you know.
Oh, I do know.
You have two very beautiful nieces, Miss Bourne.
Did you say nieces?
Yes, they are, actually. Isn't it amusing?
Oh, good heavens.
Thank you, Aunt Phyllis. It was the best party I've ever been to.
I am pleased.
Taxi, taxi, stop in the name of the poor. Silly sucker, affected author.
I love you.
That's the first time I've ever heard Ambrose Fielding laugh.
It's funny how one does things for the wrong reasons, on the spur of the moment. Vanity, perhaps. How do you mean? If I tell you, you must promise not to tell anyone else.
Promise?
Especially not Aunt Phyllis.
Phyllis?
You know the author who was here tonight, Ambrose Fielding?
The one you're having lunch with?
No, the one I'm not having lunch with.
Why ever not?
Well, I found out that he's Aunt Phyllis's friend.
Is she in love with him? Well, he's old enough to be her father.
Oh, perhaps that's what she finds attractive.
Oh, not Aunt Phyllis. That's stupid.
Is it? Don't forget that most of the men of Aunt Phyllis's age and a bit older were killed during the war. Just think of it. Thousands of women like Aunt Phyllis up and down the country.
They're not the same as our aunt.
No?
Of course not. Anyway, I thought Ambrose was horrid.
Not really. A little desperate, perhaps. Anyhow, how am I going to get hold of him to cancel lunch? He lives in the country, so I can't look him up in the telephone book.
Oh, dear. Well, what about just not going?
I thought of that. But he's the type of man who'd ring me up here, and then Aunt Phyllis would find out. And if I ask for his number...
Oh, you mean if I could? Because I could never be a rival. Listen, Liz. I could say that he asked me to go to something, with other people, of course, and I forgot because we were going home in the morning.
But why should you do the dirty work for me?
Because you were so nice lending me your dress and doing my hair and everything. My way of thanking you.
Oh, that would be marvellous.
I'll broach the subject first thing in the morning. I'm sure it'll work out all right.
Oh, it must. Come on, we must go to sleep.
Want some toast?
Please. What about you?
No, I never eat anything in the morning. Never have. Makes me feel sick.
Aunt Phyllis, I'm afraid I did a very stupid thing last night.
And what was that?
Well, when Mr. Fielding heard I was studying music, he very kindly came up to me and asked me if I'd like to go to a concert with him this afternoon.
Oh, did he? Well, he always takes a great interest in young people, especially if they're involved in the arts. I'd go.
But we promised Nanny we'd catch the 2:45 train, and so I can't go.
Yes, you see, Nanny's a bit afraid being in the house by herself with Daddy away.
So I was wondering if I could have his telephone number. Then I can ring him up and tell him that I won't be able to make it after all.
What a pity. It would have been fun.
Could I have his number, please?
It's in the book, by the telephone.
Thanks.
Well, he did say he'd probably ring me today. Still, you better get on to him at once while I run my bath.
I'll clear away.
No, leave it. Mrs. Bundy comes at 10.
Oh. I found it. It's Maidenhead 45. That's a trunk call, so don't forget to dial TRU.
God, I don't want to speak to him.
Do you want me to do it? Oh, I can do it. I can be you. He won't know.
Well, why should you lie for me again?
Oh, it won't be a lie. You'll see. Oh, Maidenhead 45, please. I'll just say I'm Miss Bourne, which is quite true, and try and sound a bit like you. Oh, Mr. Fielding. Oh, hello. It's Miss Bourne speaking. We met at the party last night. Do I? Oh, well, I've got a slight cold at the moment. I'm awfully sorry, Mr. Fielding, but I won't be able to have lunch with you. I'm afraid I have to return to the country with my sister, and I have to go now. I would have loved to have met you for lunch.
Don't you think you're a little bit young to be taken out to lunch by Ambrose Fielding? And don't you think it was a little deceitful to make up lies about going to some concert? I might be wrong, of course.
But, well, I wasn't. It wasn't quite like that.
Aunt Phyllis, it was me, actually. Ambrose asked me to lunch with him today at the Café Royal. Vicky said she telephoned for me because I didn't want to go into long explanations with him.
You didn't? Oh, I see. And you sheltered behind your sister to get his number. Well, 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 one lives and learns.
Sorry, what can I say?
Nothing, I suppose. To be quite honest, I can't see why it was necessary for you to put him off. He's very good company and quite an interesting man. You could have caught a later train.
I didn't think...
Oh, do go on.
I didn't think you'd want him to take me out.
I can't think why not.
Isn't he rather a special friend of yours?
My dear, nobody is rather a special friend of mine. All my friends are free to do as they please. Anyway, if you two children are supposed to be catching a train...
Not until 2:45, actually. We thought we'd go and see the Wallace collection, then Selfridges for lunch, and Paddington after.
Just to get out of your way.
You're not in my way. Do as you please. You can stay here if you want. Mrs. Bundy will get you something to eat. I'm afraid I have to go out.
Well, it's very kind of you, but I think we'll go, actually.
Yes, I think we will.
Very well. As you like. Do you want me to call you a taxi?
Oh, no, thank you. We can walk as far as Manchester Square, can't we, Vicky?
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for having us.
And for the party. It was lovely.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Goodbye. Yes, who is it? Ambrose Fielding, up and about early. Good morning. To what do I owe the honour of this call? Oh, darling. Oh, that is kind. but it was you who made the party. What was that? Lunch with you today? Yes. Yes, why not? Oh, let's go to Quag's. Oh, I see. The Café Royal. No. I suppose I don't mind. Of course not. Not if you've booked a table. 1 o'clock. Back bar. A little Buck's fizz and a delicious lunch on the balcony. Oh, I'll be there, Ambrose.
Do you realise we've been away 2 days? Feels like years.
Oh, doesn't it just? Vicky, I am sorry about this morning.
Doesn't matter. Poor you.
Oh, I'll get over it. At least you enjoyed yourself.
Yes, I did. It was fun.
Well, now we've got to face the abandoned nanny.
Oh, Lord. I do hope she hasn't died of fright all alone in the house with Jim.
Well, the quicker we see her, the quicker we'll get it over with. Race you.
Come in. Oh, there you are.
Hello. Hi, Jim.
Evening, Miss Vicky, Miss Elizabeth.
Now, don't stand there catching flies and shut the door before we all freeze to death. I thought you were just about due, so fresh tea in the pot, you can have a nice hot drink. Sure you'll be glad of it in this cold.
Okay.
Now, you will not believe it, but this young man turns out to be the son of a very old friend of mine. I knew his mother when she was a Miss Jackson, nursemaid over at the manor. Small world, isn't it, Jim?
Yeah, Nanny.
Yes.
Well, actually, if you'll excuse me, I'll get off. I'll not forget your coal scuttle.
Ah, that's a good laddie. You know, that young man mended my wireless, a thing Gates never managed to do. I must say it's never gone better. Well?
Well, what?
Cat got your tongues?
We had a lovely party, Nanny.
Oh, there now. And what about you, Liz? Did you enjoy yourself, dearie?
Yes, it's nice to be home.
Ah.
Oh, you're dressed early.
Yes, I left my clothes by the bed so I could reach them quickly and get dressed under the bedclothes.
We used to do that at school.
Oh, I've just been in to see Nanny. She's not feeling very well.
Oh, what's the matter?
Well, I think it's just a cold, but I said I'd ask you to go in and see her.
Oh, I hope it isn't an influenza virus. There's a lot of it going on in the village.
It would be very nice today to come back and find us all in bed with the flu, would it?
Ah, pessimist.
It's a gate to stay off to.
Oh, damn, I'd forgotten that. Well, Stanley?
Yes, Ollie?
Looks like it's just you and me back at the old homestead.
Shall we go in and see Nanny?
Oh, that's a good idea, Stanley.
You know, Fred, it's only 7 months since that beautiful Silver Jubilee, when he and Queen Mary stood out on the balcony at Buckingham Palace with all their family. I've still got a picture of that. I've got it out of the newspaper.
I remember you crying when he spoke on the wireless after the ceremony.
Yeah. I think he was nearly crying himself, poor man. Oh, and the Prince of Wales and the Duke of York looked so handsome. Oh, and those little princesses. That little Margaret Rose. She looks a right mischievous little thing.
Well, it looks as though we'll have a new king pretty soon.
He may recover. I mean, the papers said he'd had a more restful night, and people do get well again, Fred, even when it looks as though they're already alive. There are people praying for him all over the empire. Don't mind admitting, I said a little prayer for him myself last night. Well, come on, Fred. As Nanny's in bed, we'd better tell the girls we're off.
Table for Daddy. 3 for Mummy, or 1 for Anne.
Nothing for us?
No.
We're ready to go now, Miss Elizabeth.
How's Nanny?
Oh, it's just a slight cold, Mrs. Gates. If she's no better this evening, I'll call in Dr. Cropper.
Uh-huh. Oh, she likes a day in bed occasionally, you know. Now she's getting on a bit.
What's the picture this week, Mrs. Gates?
Les Miserables.
Victor Hugo.
Oh, no, Miss Frederick March.
Oh, Mrs. Gates wouldn't miss Frederick March if Judgment Day happened while we were queuing up to go in.
Fred, I've left some cold tongue for your lunch, and there's a meat pie to heat up for dinner.
Oh, don't worry about us, Mrs. Gates. We'll be all right.
Oh, thank you very much,
Thank you, Miss.
I hate
I expect there's something else. Does Nanny like tongue?
Well, if she does, she can have a very large helping.
Isn't it quiet?
Yeah, it's like the grave.
What shall we do today?
Doesn't seem to be anything to do. Suppose you should do some studying.
Oh, I feel too aimless, restless somehow. I couldn't concentrate. Shall I bring my gramophone down?
Oh, yes, do. Let's cheer ourselves up a bit.
Just now, the announcer was saying the King's condition is still giving cause for concern. Do you think he'll die, Liz?
Yes, I think he probably will.
Will it be the end of an era?
I think you can only tell when an end of an era comes from some distance in time. Eras are things you don't notice when you're living through them. Historians invent them later on. Oh, Vicky, for goodness sake, he isn't dead yet. Let's have something more cheerful. Did you like it? Gates has been having a look at the Times.
I'll take it off then.
There's jam on it. Oh, they've appointed various councillors to perform duties on behalf of His Majesty.
Oh, I suppose they still have to do mundane duties, even whether the King's ill or not.
It says here that they brought in the famous heart specialist, Sir Maurice Cassidy, to join the other 3 doctors. Yes, that's the problem with bronchial trouble at that age. Heart can't take the strain of it.
How old's the King?
70.
He doesn't look that old, does he? Herr Hitler, the German Führer and Chancellor, on Saturday sent the following message to the King. I have just heard of the severe illness of Your Majesty and feel bound to express my most sincere and heartfelt wishes for Your Majesty's improvement and complete restoration to health. There's still crowds of people outside Buckingham Palace. says that on Saturday night, people who were going home from theatres and restaurants went to look at the bulletins on the palace gates. I wonder if Aunt Phyllis did.
Probably. It's the sort of thing she would do.
Has she changed a lot recently, Liz, or have we?
What do you mean?
Oh, that terrible atmosphere when we left. I still feel pretty dreadful about it, don't you?
I feel annoyed about it. It was all so silly.
It would never have happened a little while ago.
The situation would never have happened a little while ago. Phyllis must learn to stop thinking of me as a little niece and start thinking of me as a woman.
But I hate this feeling of upset between us. It leaves me uneasy. After all, I have to go and live with her in London if I get into the Royal Academy, and even if I don't...
But you won't if you don't practice.
And even if I don't, I shall still have to spend quite a lot of time with her if I come out next season.
She'll come round. It was all such a silly misunderstanding. I don't think Phyllis is a bearer of grudges.
Or couldn't we telephone her and apologise?
Apologise for what? Look, I'm not going to spend my life apologising to other women every time some man takes a fancy to me.
Well, I just wish everything were normal.
So do I, really. I wonder what else is happening in this imperfect world.
Are the sales still on?
Yes, well, some of them are.
I wish we could have some new clothes.
Hmm.
Oh, it's snowing again.
They're thinking of burying Rudyard Kipling in Poets' Corner at the Abbey.
I wonder what they'll do with the poets when that place is full.
Vicky, let's stop talking about death and put on a cheerful record, and I mean cheerful.
How about Hutch?
And that's why
Jinx do it, Japs do it, come on. Little laughs do it, let's do it, let's
fall in love. In Spain, the best upper sets do it. Lithuanians, and let's do it. So let's do it. Let's fall in love.
Boo!
Oh, Liz.
Nanny's nodded off over a bowl of soup, so I pinched this. We can listen to the bulletins on the King while we have our meat pie.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Have you seen this picture of Prince Farouk of Egypt?
Oh, yes.
He's only my age, but he looks about 30.
He's probably on the lookout for an English wife. How do you fancy being Queen of Egypt one day?
Would I have to wear a yashmak and ride a camel?
Oh, undoubtedly.
Then I'll pass. What if our pie's done yet? Shall we risk it?
Oh, yes, I'm ravenous.
No.
Oh, damn, this thing won't plug in here.
Never mind.
Oh, we'll have to listen to it later in the hall. Oh. Dish up then, Cookie. Coffee?
Oh, no, thank you. I'll make some for you, though, if you like.
No, I don't think I'll bother.
Oh, what a miserable day. A long, miserable day. I could cry.
It's our fault. We've been so idle. We should have found ourselves something to do.
It's this terrible atmosphere of emptiness. No one here. It's so quiet. Every time I speak, I expect an echo. I feel like someone left on an empty platform waiting for a train that's never going to arrive. I wish Daddy would get back.
So do I.
Well, it would be so bad if Nanny were pottering around as usual. Are you sure we oughtn't to ring Aunt Phyllis
and what?
Oh, make it up with her. I hate the thought of her being cross with her.
Look, she has no reason to be, and I'm not going to apologise.
I didn't mean apologise. I mean just get things back to normal with her. You know what fun she can be with when she's on our side. We could invite her here for a couple of days. It'd be nice to have someone else around until Daddy gets back.
She's still in the same mood. I shouldn't think she'd come.
She was very upset, Liz. And in a way, it was our fault.
It certainly was not.
Well, not purposely. You didn't know who Ambrose Fielding was. But even so, she must have felt a bit unwanted, a bit brushed aside.
No one was trying to brush her aside.
Perhaps Ambrose Fielding.
Well, if he was, there's nothing we can do about it, is there?
We could ring her up and make her feel wanted.
How?
We could say that we're lonely. Say that with Nanny ill and everyone else away, we're depressed and worried. we could ask her to come up and help us with everything. Well, if she thinks that we need her, she'll come. And then we can get things back to normal again.
Oh, it's nearly 9:30. It's a bit too late to ring.
9:30? I'd forgotten the king. But shh.
This is London. Following bulletin was issued at 9:25. The King's life is moving peacefully towards its close. Signed, Frederick Willans, Stanley Hewitt, Dawson of Penn. All stations of the British Broadcasting Corporation will now close down until 10 p.m. when a further announcement will be made.
It really is dying.
Yes.
Please, let's ring Aunt Phyllis.
All right. I'll put a call through now.
Tell her we need her. Really need her.
Yes, well, I hope she's in a better mood. Hello, operator. A London call, please. Langham 2315.
Hello?
Hello, Aunt Phil. It's Liz.
Oh,
How are you?
extremely well.
Good. We were just listening to the bulletins on the king. It's rather sad, isn't it?
Very.
Will you stay up, do you think, to listen to the news in case he dies?
I don't know.
What can I say?
Ask her to come up.
Yes, I'll try. I don't suppose you've heard from Daddy, have you?
No.
No, neither have we. We were getting rather worried, actually. We expected him home by now. Nanny's ill. Well, not ill exactly.
Well, is she ill or isn't she? You're supposed to be the budding doctor.
Well, she's just got a slight cold. It's not serious, but she really does need to be in bed for a few days.
Then you'd better see she stays there.
Actually, Aunt Phil, we were wondering if you'd come up for a few days to help out a little.
Help out?
Well, it's so depressing here with everyone away and Nanny ill. This house seems to need people somehow. Vicky gets so depressed and lonely. I can't get her to work on her music at all. So if you could come up just for a few days, until Daddy gets back anyhow, well, you'd cheer the place up enormously.
I don't know. I'm very busy.
Well, yes, of course, I knew you would be. We can't expect you to drop everything just because we need you.
I suppose I could put things off. The trouble with you two is you don't know how to look after yourselves. I don't know what would happen if you had to live alone.
Yes, I know. We are a bit silly, aren't we? But if you could come, well, you'd make us a lot happier.
If you need me, then I suppose I must. I'll drive up tomorrow.
Good. Well, we'll see you tomorrow afternoon then, Aunt Phil. Bye-bye.
She's coming.
Yes, she certainly is. I think we're going to be in for a few very sticky days.
Morning. Got a cup of tea for you. It's 9 o'clock.
9.
I overslept too. We were up pretty late last night.
Oh, yes, we were, weren't we? Still, we can't expect kings to die at convenient times just because we want a good night's sleep.
After I got to bed last night, I couldn't stop thinking that if he died 5 minutes later at midnight, exactly midnight, well, how would the history books have decided whether King George V died on the 20th or the 21st of January?
Oh, Vicky.
Well, I think that would be very inconvenient to have someone die at exactly midnight.
Well, he didn't. It was 5-2. Now, I suppose I better get up and organise things for our reluctant guest.
Do you think we ought to invite someone else? Well, if Aunt Phyllis is coming all this way on snowy road, she deserves more than our two dismal faces.
Yes, I suppose she does. I suppose we could try the Cartlands.
Oh, yes, do. Peter might be able to come. hurry up and finish your tea, and then I can take your cup down.
All right, all right.
That's our tea things finished with Mrs. Gates.
Oh, thank you, miss.
Did you hear the announcement about the King's Iron?
Yes, miss, we did. We were just going to bed when it came on.
Oh, the Times is here, Miss Vicky. I was just going to take it into the hall.
Oh, you read it first.
Well, it seems to have been a peaceful death.
Well, that's all any of us can ask, a peaceful death.
We couldn't have had a better king.
No, we couldn't. Came to inspect my company of Marines one time, years ago. Oh, he was a smart man in uniform. He stopped to speak to me for a minute. Say what fine lads we were, how proud he was of us. Yeah, the weeks of spit and polish that had gone into getting that parade into shape.
And now we have King Edward VIII.
And no queen.
When they told the Prince of Wales that his father was poorly, he flew to Sandringham. Flew there, in an aeroplane.
Yes, I heard that.
He's a king for your generation, Miss Vicky, not for mine.
Oh, I'm sure he'll make a very good king. There's nothing wrong with being modern.
Oh, well, better go and see if that sister of mine is up yet.
He's not like his father.
Oh, how far would the world get if everybody was just like his father?
Well, all those holidays abroad, walking around in fancy clothes. +4s.
Oh, take some more coal up to Nanny's room, Fred. She's decided to have yet another day in bed.
Is Mrs. Cartland at home? Oh, she's away. Well, I was ringing, actually, to invite you both over to dinner. But never mind, another time. On your own? No, yes, of course, Mr. Cartland. We'd be delighted. Do come. About 8? I don't suppose Peter is at home, is he? No. Oh, what a shame. No, Mr. Cartland, please, we'd be delighted. Black tie? Yes, of course. Right, well, we'll see you later on, then. Goodbye.
Are they coming?
Yes, well, almost.
Almost?
Well, Mrs. Cartland's away skiing, and Peter's gone to London. So Mr. Cartland's coming on his own.
On his own? Oh, how boring.
Well, at least I got a man for Aunt Phyllis to talk to.
Elderly and married?
Well, I tried. Oh, no, I'd better go and warn Mrs. Gates.
Okay.
Mrs. Gates, Miss Phyllis is arriving later on and staying for a few days. And Mr. Cartland's coming over for dinner.
Oh, so there'll be 4 of you for dinner tonight, miss?
Yes, I know it is rather short notice, isn't it? But if there's any shopping to be done, I'll drive you into Horbury.
No, it's all right. I've got a nice piece of beef in because I expected the commander to be back by now.
You'll manage, then?
Yes, I'll manage, miss. So long as a simple meal will be all right.
Oh, yes, that'll be fine.
I do hope she's all right. The roads must be terrible. Well, perhaps you shouldn't have asked her to come. It's dangerous driving in all this snow.
She's done it before.
But she should have been here hours ago. Oh, Liz, you don't think she's lying dead on the road, do you?
Oh, Vicky, for goodness sake. If she's had an accident, some hospital would have telephoned us by now.
She's here. She's here. Hello.
My God, what a journey.
Aunt Phyllis, you must be frozen. Why did you come over?
Roads are almost impassable. Snow and ice. I feel like death.
Shall I get you a drink, Aunt Phil, to warm you up?
Yes, please. A large scotch.
We were getting rather worried, actually. I was thinking of telephoning some local hospitals.
Oh, I left London hours ago. Oh, that's better.
We were just wondering what to do because we've got Mr. Cartland coming for dinner at 8 o'clock.
That's all I need, a dinner party.
Well, there'd only be 4 of us. We thought it would be more cheerful for you to have company other than us. You have met Mr. Cartland?
Once.
That's right, on Boxing Night.
Did you say we'd be 4?
Yes.
Well, aren't both the Cartlands coming?
Oh, Mrs. Cartland's abroad skiing.
My God, just him, is it? Well, I can't do anything until I've had a hot bath. I wish you'd warned me you had someone coming to dinner.
Oh, sorry. I'll take up your things, Uncle.
Well, I hope we're not changing, because I haven't brought anything to wear.
Well, I'm afraid it is black tie, actually. Well, only because Mr. Cartland seemed to presume it would be, and Liz didn't like to say no, so...
Didn't like to say no? She's got a tongue in her head, hasn't she?
You always look terribly nice, Aunt Phil. No matter what you wear, I'm sure you'll look wonderful.
You'd better go. I'm going to have my bath.
Is there enough soda in that siphon, Vic?
Yes, I squirted some into a glass.
Oh, Vicky. It's all right. I emptied out again.
I didn't know it was the Jubilee Ball.
Aunt Phyllis, a glass of sherry?
No, thank you. I'll have a whiskey and soda if you don't mind.
Yes, all right.
Oh, Mr. Cartland will just have to take me as I am this evening. I can't help it if everyone else is dressed up to the nines.
Well, you look fine.
I don't feel it. You better let your guest in. I'll help myself, Vicky. I know exactly how much whiskey I want.
Hello, Mr. Cartland.
Oh, good evening, Vicky. Thank you. Gosh, it's lying thick out there. I should probably be treading snow to all of your carpets.
Good evening, Mr. Cartland.
Good evening, Elizabeth. Thank you. Oh, how are you?
Oh, I'm very well, thank you. You've met our Aunt Phyllis, haven't you? Miss Bourne, Mr. Cartland.
Yes, of course. Hello again, Miss Bourne.
I say you must forgive me for not being dressed.
Not at all. I must say, Elizabeth, you are looking attractive and stunning tonight.
Am I? Well, thank you very much. It's awfully nice of you to come out in this terrible weather.
Not at all. I'd gladly drive through all the snow and ice for the prospect of spending an evening with the delectable Miss Elizabeth Bourne. Well, shall we sit down? You can tell me all your news.
That many dishes, Fred. Can't expect me to do everything on my own, can you?
There shouldn't be any dishes at all. With the commander away, and Miss Anne and the mistress away, and the king dined last night, and what's going on here? A dinner party.
Well, it's not a proper dinner party. There's only one guest. Can't call Miss Phyllis a guest. She's family.
Well, Mr. Cartland arrived looking as though he was going to the Ritz. Black tie and dinner jacket. Now, Miss Elizabeth looks as though she's doing the thing proper, too.
Well, they need a bit of cheering up, those two girls do. Oh, I know. I know. Miss Anne's ill and things are very worrying. But Miss Vicky and Miss Liz are young, Fred. It's bad enough for them to be stuck here out in the country all on their own without expecting them not to have a bit of amusement as well.
Yeah, well, I'd like to hear what the commander has to say about it, that's all.
Well, I think he'd be very glad they're managing to look after themselves so well.
Yeah, well, they're not looking after their guest. Well, she'll need more wine. I told her, but she wouldn't listen.
Oh, I'm sure she was only thinking of the expense, Fred.
Yeah, well, she could have trusted me to do that.
No, she's got to learn these things for herself. I expect she'll be married soon. At least she would be. She could get out of this house and meet a few nice young men. And then she'll give lots of dinner parties.
Yeah, but she won't have me to do the washing up, will she?
Oh, Fred, it's all right. Look, I can manage. Now, why don't you go back to the lodge and listen to the wireless for a bit,
Oh, there is no wireless tonight, love. They've cancelled all the programmes with the King dying.
Oh, yes, of course, I'd forgotten. Well, go back, put your feet up and have a smoke of your pipe.
Oh, I'll be all right. I'll give you a hand for a bit longer.
More, I'm afraid. Oh, it really is amazing how much washing up 4 people can make.
That's all right, Miss Vicky. You just give them to Gates. How was the beef?
Oh, delicious, Mrs. Gates. Just right.
Oh, I'm glad. You see, really, I do hope everybody's going to like this apple meringue. But it's all I could do at short notice. Mind you, I know Miss Phyllis rather likes it.
Oh, the commander would have enjoyed it too if he'd been here, wouldn't he, miss?
Yes, it's one of Daddy's favourites.
You haven't heard anything, I suppose, about him coming back.
No, I'm afraid not. I hope it'll be soon.
Would you like me to stay and serve it for you, miss?
I don't know, Mrs. Gates. We'll ask Liz.
Oh, Mrs. Gates, are you all right?
Yes, miss, no harm done.
Oh, the pudding on the floor would have been the last straw.
Would you like me to serve this for you, miss?
Yes, please do, Mrs. Gates. Gates, you were right. We do need more wine. I should have realised earlier. Or we'll just have to serve it without giving it time to breathe.
It'll be a bit too chilled as well, miss. Still, they'll understand with the commander not here.
Well, that was a splendid dinner, Liz. Your parents will be proud of you.
I didn't cook it.
No, but I'm sure you arranged it, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
There you see. Come and sit down here and tell me more about your fantastic experiences at university.
I think I'll just pop into the kitchen and organise some coffee, if you don't mind. Why don't you sit over there and tell Aunt Phyllis about your factory? Well, she's very interested in cars, aren't you, Aunt Phyllis?
Since we've been ordered to discuss your factory, tell me, how many men do you employ, Mr. Cartland?
I'm awfully sorry. I didn't hear what you said.
I asked how many men you employed in your car factory.
Oh, several hundreds. We also have the new conveyor belt, introduced by Mr. Henry Ford, no less. Makes things a lot more economical.
Each man doing the same thing over and over again, turning the same screw and fitting the same bolt.
Yes, that's the idea.
Don't they get rather bored?
Bored, my men? No, I don't think so. Besides, they get very highly paid. I think they're more concerned with that than they are with the boredom of the job. Oh, let me help you with that. Looks very heavy.
Oh, yes, it is rather a weight.
Where shall I put it?
Over here.
Wish he'd talk to Aunt Phyllis.
I know, he won't leave me alone. He's trying to include her in the conversation, but she's being so sarcastic and offhand. She's making things worse. Now, Aunt Phyllis, some coffee?
No, thank you. I'm going upstairs for a moment, if I might be excused.
Do sit down, Mr. Cartland. I'll pour you some coffee.
Very well.
You better go and see if she's all right. I'll pour the coffee.
Would you excuse me for a moment, please?
Yes, of course.
I just came up to see you.
See? To gloat, you mean?
Gloat?
Don't put on the little Miss Innocence now. It's too late.
Phyllis, I don't think I know what you mean.
My God. If your parents only knew. If they knew what sort of person you've grown into.
What sort of person am I?
You don't need me to tell you.
No, I don't. I think my ideas on the subject are very different from yours.
Just what sort of an example do you think you're setting Vicky?
What on earth?
Now, look here, Liz. I have watched your parents spend endless time and money trying to bring up 3 girls and turn them into decent people. into women of character, of charm and taste. And how do you behave? You, the eldest, the one who's supposed to be so clever. You spend your time flaunting yourself around, pushing yourself at other people's husbands. It's not very attractive, you know.
I do not push myself at other people's husbands.
Just what do you think you were doing downstairs? Flaunting over Mr. Cartland, a man old enough to be your father.
I was trying to be a good and polite hostess.
Oh, that's what they're calling it now, is it?
Phyllis, this is ridiculous. I wasn't flaunting myself. I haven't got the slightest interest in Geoffrey Cartland. But if he chooses to lavish all his attention on me, it's hardly my fault, is it?
I'd say it's very much your fault. There are ways of discouraging that sort of behaviour, and it's obviously time you learned them.
How can you say that when I was doing my very best to discourage him?
If that's your best, you'd better be careful. You'll end up in the divorce courts one of these days, cited as co-respondent by some wife who isn't conveniently abroad skiing.
Look, I didn't invite Geoffrey Cartland over here because his wife was conveniently away. I rang to invite them both, but he cornered me into having him over here on his own.
Yes, whereupon you spend most of the evening trying to corner him.
Look, that isn't true. I mean, if he's old enough to be my father, why should I try to corner him?
Oh, I don't suggest for one moment you're actually attracted by
You're quite
him.
right, I'm not.
Your type never really is. You're just interested in having attention, in being complimented and flattered. You're just interested in having him interested in you.
Don't judge me by your own standards, Phyllis. That may be your weakness, but it isn't mine.
How dare you speak to me like that? You spent the entire evening in close and intimate conversation with that man, and then you try and tell me you were discouraging him.
I was discouraging him.
For some reason, you begged me to come up here in this filthy weather when I have better and more important things to do in London. You tell me on the telephone you're lonely and depressed. Well, I must say, you don't look very lonely tonight, the way you're behaving.
Look, we invited Geoffrey Cartland over here as company for you.
Obviously.
But we did. It's Vicky's idea, not mine.
So, I come up here out of the goodness of my heart, because you sound so miserable on the telephone, quite tired out and freezing cold, to find this pantomime going on. You dressed up like a Christmas tree, and a whole ghastly evening which I can only assume has been arranged to show off your great prowess with men. What are you trying to prove, child? That your conquest of Ambrose Fielding wasn't just an isolated incident? Was that it?
Help us up to some more coffee, Mr. Cartland.
No, thank you. I suppose everything is all right, isn't it?
All right?
Well, your aunt and your sister seem to have spent rather a long time upstairs.
Oh, yes. When Liz and Aunt Phyllis get chatting, they lose all track of time. Oh, they're very close.
They didn't seem very close at dinner.
That's it, isn't it? You're still upset about Ambrose Fielding. Well, I'm sorry, but there was nothing I could do about that.
You deliberately set out to snare Ambrose because you were jealous of my relationship with him. Oh, I know you don't find him attractive. He's nothing like handsome enough or rich enough for the lovely Elizabeth Bourne. You just wanted to set him trailing about after you. Probably to spite me.
Look, Phyllis, I wouldn't do anything to spite you, and I wouldn't knowingly do anything to upset you either.
Wouldn't you? I don't think you give a damn about anyone but yourself.
That's not fair.
Isn't it? Isn't it really? It seems to me you spend most of your time chasing other people's men. In fact, you appear to be making quite a habit of it. You gave that wretched young doctor a pretty rotten time, didn't you?
Keep Brian Harrington out of this.
You threw yourself at him until he didn't know whether he was on his head or his heels. You chased him and flirted with him. You deliberately set out to trap him, and you didn't give one thought to his poor wife or even to him. You didn't stop to think you might be making his life almost unbearable.
Look, shut up.
I'll shut up when I've finished telling you what sort of person you are. Did it make you feel good? Did it feed your conceit to have that young man panting after you? Oh, it was a safe game, wasn't it? He had a wife, a Roman Catholic wife, and you had a comfortable home to run back to every time anything looked dangerous. And where were you when he needed you? When his wife was killed, and there was nothing to stop you becoming the wife of a poor, honest young doctor, you ran a mile, didn't you? And ditched him.
But I loved Brian. I loved him. The trouble with you is you're just jealous and bitter because you haven't got someone of your own. You were jealous of me because I had Brian.
Jealous? You're a selfish little minx.
Yes, and you're a jealous, selfish old maid.
How dare you?
Phyllis, perhaps you were right about Brian. Though there have been moments when I wondered if I loved him enough. But perhaps I can't love anyone. Perhaps I never shall.
Of course you will. I'm just being cruel. Oh, forgive me. I'm just a silly, neurotic woman. Damn sorry. Oh, I'm very, very sorry. I did get jealous over Ambrose. I admit it. God knows, it wasn't really worth it. Forgive me.
Oh, Phyllis.
Liz! Oh, Phyllis! Daddy's back. Oh, just arrived. Come on.
Oh, at last. Look at us.
Tell him we'll be down in a moment.
Okay.
Oh, here, you tidy yourself up first and go down and I'll follow. Oh, Liz, let's forget all about this. Pretend it never happened.
Yes, let's.
Beastly night.
Especially for travelling.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Didn't the girls offer you a port or a brandy or something?
I was just going to, Daddy, when you arrived.
Well, darling, on the dining room sideboard. Port, decanter and the brandy and some glasses.
Okay. By the way, Liz and Aunt Phyllis will be down in a moment. They're just upstairs titivating.
All right. Oh, thank goodness for a good fire. Something wrong with the heating on that damn train. Frozen pipes, I suppose.
Have a up trip from Calais?
Yes, yes, actually, it blew a bit, you know. Not enough to worry the Navy, though.
Daddy.
Fine.
We're back at last. Oh, it's nice to see you.
Well, goodness gracious, that's a very pleasant welcome. It's good to be back.
How are Mummy and Dan?
Will they be home soon?
Well, things are... Well, they're going as well as we can expect, you know, but I'm afraid they're both going to be out there for some time yet.
Oh, no.
Oh, come on, dear, cheer up. Oh, now, Geoffrey, what are you going to have?
Brandy, please. Not a large one.
Oh, fine, well, I think I'll join you now. Warm me up a bit.
Daddy, could I have a glass of port, please?
You, dear? Yes, yes, certainly. As long as you don't make a habit of it.
Can I?
You, dear? All right, yeah, if you must. A small one, though.
Is Anne improving, though?
Yes, I think so, dear, but it's going to be rather a slow business.
Oh, thank goodness you're back. We were all really quite worried. And these girls, they were ready to declare themselves orphans.
Well, it's good to see you here, Phil. See, I don't like leaving these two here on their own.
We asked Aunt Phil to come up because we were beginning to feel rather lonely.
Oh, especially yesterday when the Gates had their day off and Nanny took to her bed with a cold.
Nanny? Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. Please forgive this family conversation. Is she all right?
Oh, yes, it's nothing serious, just a slight cold.
Well, a bit late to go up and see her now.
Well, Mrs. Gates brought her a cup of Horlicks while we were having dinner, and she was dozing then.
All right, well, I'll go up and see her in the morning.
Arthur, we are very close, you know. If you want to go away again, you'll just have to let me know, and I'll have to keep an eye on things. Look after the ladies, in case something unusual arises. I'll be too glad.
That's very kind of you, Geoffrey. Might take you up on that one day.
You're not going away again?
No, dear, not immediately, but I shall be going out to see Anne and Mummy in the not-too-distant future, yeah?
Couldn't we go with you next time?
Well, we just had to wait and see. You know? Besides, I hope Miss Victoria and I are going to be far too busy at the Royal Academy of Music, traipsing off to Freiburg.
She's a fine pianist. I was having a private recital just as you arrived.
Are you practicing hard, Vicky?
I don't know.
I shall keep her at that piano all day tomorrow without a moment's respite.
That's what she needs. Firm control.
A good day's practice tomorrow, Vicky, and you'll pass into the academy.
I hope so.
There you are, Izzy. You're a lucky girl to have Aunt Phil to coach you. There's the finest piano teacher in London, Geoffrey.
You know, I think she's taking unfair advantage of the others, Arthur? You do take advantage. Make the most of it, Vicky. Well, I must be off into the storm. My wife's due back from her skiing holiday, and she'd be livid if she thought I was enjoying myself here instead of being there laying out the red carpet for her.
Well, won't you stay, have another brandy?
No, Arthur, thank you. I've had a good meal. I'm feeling pleasantly mellow. Well, Elizabeth, thank you very much. You're a most gracious hostess.
Well, I'll get your coat.
Thank you. You're a fine daughter there. You should be very proud of her.
Oh, I'm proud of them all, my dear fellow.
Yes, I'm sure you are. Ah, thank you. Well, good night, Elizabeth.
Good night.
Good night, Miss Vaughan. Nice to have seen you again.
Good night, Mr. Cartland.
Well, good night, all.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Daddy, tell us about Mummy and Anne.
Well, I'm afraid we've got to face the fact, you know. It's going to take rather longer than we originally anticipated.
Oh, dear.
Yes, I'm sorry, Vicky. You see, there are one or two complications which I can't say I fully understand. Oh, Anne's responding to aspects of the treatment, but, well, Dr. Edelman still hasn't eliminated certain other possibilities.
Well, how long will Mummy have to be out there?
Well, quite honestly, dear, I don't know. You see, the trouble is that Anne does get awfully down in the dumps on occasions. I mean, she accepts the fact she's got to be out there, and she stands up to it damn well, but she does get these fits of depression.
And depressed. It seems impossible.
Well, so much so, my dear, that the doctors think it may be a side effect of the treatment.
Poor Anne.
So you see, she does need your mother there.
Yes, of course.
It's so frustrating, Arthur, all of us just sitting here and unable to do anything.
Well, the only thing we can do is stay fit and happy ourselves. Huh?
Is there anything we can send them, Daddy?
Yes, dear, there are lots of things. And Mummy gave me a list, which I'll give to you in the morning, and we should be able to get most of what we want in Horbury. Now, what she wants especially is books. Now, she's read everything she took with her, and the shops out there, they don't have a very good selection of English language reading.
Well, I'll buy her the latest Dorothy Sayers.
Do you know what she appreciates most? And that is your letters.
Then I'll write tomorrow evening.
So will I.
And I'll write as soon as I get back to London. I'll ring up Mother and add her news. You know what she's like about writing letters now. By the time she's found her spec, she's forgotten who she's supposed to be writing to.
Well, I think I'll go to bed if nobody minds. Daddy, there are some letters for you. I put them on your desk in the study.
All right, dear, thank you very much. Look, I'll look at them in the morning. I'm a bit fagged tonight.
Good night.
Good night.
I'll come up too then. Night, night, Daddy.
Good night, dear.
Night, night, Arthur.
Good night, Vicky.
And don't forget to practice hard in the morning.
I'll see she does.
Another glass of port.
Could I possibly shock you and ask for a whiskey and soda? I'm a bit chilled.
Oh, I didn't know you'd changed to whiskey.
I'm gradually acquiring a taste for it. No one asked if you were hungry, darling. If you are, I'll pop into the kitchen and make you a sandwich.
No, I'm all right, Phil. Have some dinner on the train.
Are the German papers full of the death of the king?
Yeah, yes, and this American woman, Mrs. Simpson.
I've heard the gossip about her. It seems that the prince, or rather the king, spends quite a lot of time with her.
My dear, that is an understatement. Now, one of the equerries told me, you know, that she, and her husband, of course, they're invited up to Fort Belvedere almost every weekend.
I expect that'll have to stop now he's king.
No, one hopes so, you see, but there are fears that it won't.
But she's a married woman.
Exactly. But are you all right? You look a bit pale.
Do I? No, I'm all right. Tired. Probably run down. Liz and I had words tonight about something really very silly. But we'd made our peace by the time you arrived.
No, look here. These children have been misbehaving themselves.
Oh, no, it's entirely my fault. I've been a bit short-tempered lately. You know what a depressing month January is. I think that's why Liz and I had a bit of a fight.
Now, I'm a bit worried about Liz, to be honest.
Are you? Why?
Well, you see, Vicky, why, she's got her music to absorb. As long as she passes into the academy, you know, her future life is more or less settled. Well, she has a career.
Yes.
See, but Liz Well, with nothing outside this house to occupy her mind, I'm afraid she is going to find life pretty tedious. See, I can't let her go while Helen is away. It's so damn quiet here, just the three of us, you know. I think she's going to get very bored this winter.
It's a possibility. I wouldn't cheer you up falsely by saying anything else.
You know, a bored young woman, very like a bored sailor. It's a very dangerous creature.
Is it really? I must go to bed. I'm exhausted. Forgive me.
All right, then. Good night.
Good night.
Now, you stay in bed in the morning as long as you like. Have a damn good rest.
I rather think I will.
Do you think everything will be back to normal with her tomorrow?
I think so. We certainly said some vicious things to one another. I can hardly believe it now. Still, I think we both screamed the tension out of our systems. She was all right when she came downstairs, wasn't she?
Yes, but it's hard to imagine Aunt Phyllis carrying on an argument like that with Daddy around, isn't it?
I think either she or I would hardly dare.
Why do you think she got like that?
Well, I think she's a little bit depressed, a little bit lonely, a little bit jealous. Why are any of us less than perfect sometimes?
Well, I'm glad she came. I'm going to work really hard for her at the piano tomorrow. In fact, I think I'll go back downstairs and find some music to study in bed.
That's a good idea, Stanley.
Hello, Daddy.
Hello.
I just wanted some music to look at. It's on the piano.
You should be tucked up in bed by now.
Yes. Daddy, I'm so glad to see you. It's been miserable here without you.
Oh, goodness gracious me. And how did the party go? Well, you and Liz seemed to have it well under control when I got back.
Oh, we managed all right. I just wish Peter had been here. Well, Mr. Cartland's very nice, but he's not very exciting, is he?
No, darling, I don't suppose he is.
Did you know they're building a new conservatory over at Hayford?
Yes, so Mrs. Cartland was saying.
Oh, you've seen her? Isn't she abroad?
Yes, she was, yes. I bumped into her at Paddington here, waiting for the Horbury train.
Oh.
Yes, that was quite a coincidence, really.
Fire's getting low, Fred. The commander says to tell you we want some more logs.
Well, I told Jim to see to that half an hour ago. Hasn't he done so?
No. We can be a lazy young varmint, can't he?
He wants a boot behind him, that's what he wants.
Oh, I've never seen him at all this morning. What on earth does he do with himself?
Oh, I'll lay odds he's in the potting shed with his nose stuck in a book.
Oh, well, we all know who's to blame for that, don't we?
We do. But I'm not going to keep a dog and bark myself, that's for sure.
Oh, you're forgetting the time, Daddy.
I'm so sorry, dear, what?
Well, aren't you supposed to be in court today?
Oh, yes, I was going to, you know, but that chap we caught poaching's coming up this morning. Major Thomas is doing my city.
Oh, good, so you don't have to go in. Oh, will he plead guilty?
What?
The poacher, will he plead guilty?
Oh, he could hardly do anything else, but a chapman caught him red-handed. 5 rabbits in that bag, and he was just resetting the wires.
Now, what will he get?
Oh, 30 days. Regular offender, you know. Besides, it's no good finding old Tom Yeoman. He can't pay.
Yeoman? Isn't he that old man who lives in that broken-down old cottage on Horbury Road?
Yes, that's him.
Do we have to prosecute? I mean, well, he must be terribly poor. Surely we can spare him a few rabbits.
Oh, my dear Liz, your sentiments do you credit, dear, but the law is the law. See, if I failed to prosecute in a case like this, well, I would be condoning the offence, and that no magistrate must ever do.
Well, yes, but...
Well, you don't sound very convinced.
But, Daddy, if he was hungry...
Oh, my dear Liz, he didn't steal 5 rabbits to feed his starving wife. He's going to sell them. Well, let's get on.
Well, have you got a lot to do?
No, there's just 1 or 2 things to attend to.
Well, can I help?
No, I don't think so.
Well, Daddy, can I come and talk to you then?
Is it something important?
No. Well, it's just that...
Oh, I know. Lonely here without the others.
Yes.
I feel it too. Well, come on. We'll go over the farm accounts. You were always very good at figures.
Oh, hello, Mr. Gates.
What the devil are you doing here?
Oh, he's just repotting this plant you said to.
That was yesterday. This morning I told you to fetch some logs and make up the whole fire.
Oh, sorry, I completely forgot.
God. Well, here's something you better remember, my lad. I'm not carrying the can for you. You keep your mind on your work and do as you're told when you're told, or I'll have you out of here so fast your feet won't touch the ground, understand?
Yes, Mr. Gates.
All right, now get along. Hey, that's not the plant that I told you to repot. That's the aspidistra. You've probably killed it now. Mrs. Bourne will be very upset.
Oh, crumbs, what can I do then?
Nothing. That's the one that I told you. Ah, just as I thought. You've been wasting your time again reading.
Oh, no, I haven't. I just put it there so I could have a look at it when I'm having me grub.
Don't you stand there lying to me on Jim Tapper. I wasn't born yesterday. You knocked that plant out of the pot when you heard me coming.
No, I didn't. Oh, you're careful. That's Miss Elizabeth. She specially said to keep it clean.
Oh, I see. Oh, well, that explains it.
What?
Why you don't want to get your hands dirty. Look at them. 2 hours you've been here this morning. Cleaner than your neck, I'll warrant.
Well, I just washed them after I mucked out the stable.
Oh, we are getting particular. Next you'll be wanting scented soap. Go on, see to that fire and quick about it.
Oh, Mr. Gates?
On.
Got my book.
Miss Elizabeth's book. I've got some really dirty jobs for you, lad. I think I better see she gets it back before it gets spoiled.
Yeah, but I'm supposed to be studying
You're
it.
supposed to be working. Great expectations. Well, you know what you can expect if I catch you shirking again. Go on, see to that fire and quick about it.
Yes, all right, Vicky. I'll see it goes off today. Right, bye.
Oh, I say. Oh, didn't she want to speak to me?
No, she was going out. Well, Phyllis was waiting for her, so she had to rush.
Oh, I see. Was she all right?
Yes. Daddy, have you got a very large envelope to take some music?
Yes, I think so, dear, but it's in the drawer behind you.
Oh. She wants me to send her the music of Chopin's Polonaise in A. But she thinks she might use it for her academy examination.
Well, that's a jolly good idea. You know, she plays that Polonaise extremely well. Ah, well, there we are.
Yes, thank you. Do you think Vicky really plays well enough?
Oh, for the Royal Academy of Music?
No, having to be a proper concert pianist. I mean the Albert Hall, not the Village Hall.
Mm-hmm. Well, we just had to wait and see, won't we? Do you know there's a lot between the two extremes?
Yes, I know, but... Well, Vicky's really set her heart on getting to the top, and if she doesn't make it after all that training and practice, she's going to be shattered.
Oh, I don't think she'll actually be shattered, you know? No, very upset, for a time. Then young people are extremely resilient.
Doesn't it worry you?
No, not unduly.
It worries me, and I'm sure it worries Mummy.
Oh, my dear, what would you have her do? I mean, drop out now, I mean, avoid the chance of being hurt if she fails.
Oh, no, that would be as bad.
Worse. Do you remember the parable of the talents? Now, the chap who was so scared of failure that he buried his instead of using it? Well, can you imagine spending the rest of your life wondering if you could have achieved something special if you just had the guts to risk failure?
You're right, Daddy. That would be simply awful. Morning, Jim.
Oh, morning, miss.
Well, make a nice big fire for us, will you? It's rather cold today.
Yeah, well, I brought up some small birch logs. They'll liven it up quick enough, and the rest are pine. I'll make a lovely smoke burning.
Like pine cones.
Yeah, that's right. I used to collect them by the ton, when I was a nipper. Used to flog them off, tuppence a sack.
That was very enterprising.
Yeah, got in a lot of trouble for it, though. I used to skip school to go and collect them.
Ah, well, no wonder you're no good at academic things. Yeah. Which reminds me, you were going to write an essay.
Oh, yeah, well, I've almost finished, miss. I'm just trying to make it as good as I can before I let you see it.
Yes, well, as soon as it's ready.
Yeah, it's what they call grammar I'm having some trouble with. I don't understand that at all.
Oh, Jim, I'll be glad to help all I can, really.
Yeah, well, I am trying. Yeah, and there's some words I don't understand either.
Well, haven't you got a dictionary?
Yeah, we had one once. Got it given with a Daily Herald. His sister got it pinched at school.
Oh, I think I've got an old one somewhere. I'll see if I can find it for you.
Oh, thanks, miss. That'd be really handy.
Come on then now, Jim. What are you... Oh, I beg your pardon, miss.
Oh, that's all right, Gates.
On the fire, have you?
Yeah.
Good. Right, I want some more coal now for the kitchen fire. Come on, quick. Oh, begging your pardon, Miss Elizabeth.
Yes?
This is your book, I think.
Oh, yes, it is. I lent it to Jim. Where did you find it?
Oh, in the potting shed. It is filthy in there. I think you better have it back before it gets spoiled. Especially as I see that it's one of your school prizes.
But did Jim ask you to return it to me, Gates?
Well, no, miss, but I told him I would. Well, you know what boys like that are. Can't take care of anything.
I see.
Is the master in, miss? I'd like a word.
He's in his study.
Thank you, miss.
Come in.
Oh, morning, sir. Might I have a word with you, sir, if you could spare me a minute?
Yes, that's all right, Gates. What is it?
It's about young Tapper, sir.
Oh, don't tell me. Has he been playing you up again?
No way, sir.
What's he been up to?
Slacking.
Oh, good God, man. I'm sure you can handle that.
Oh, in the ordinary way I could, sir, but...
But what?
Well, I don't quite know how to put this, sir. I hope you won't take it amiss.
Well, what's the problem, Gates?
It's Miss Elizabeth, sir. Well, I don't like to complain, but...
Miss Elizabeth? Well, now, what the devil's she got to do with it?
Well, I expect you know, sir, that she's been teaching young Jim to read.
Yes, she did mention something about it.
Well, as you might expect, sir, he's taken advantage of her interest. Oh, I know she means well, sir, but I think it's a mistake. You give a lad like that an inch and he'll take a mile.
Now, what exactly has he been doing?
Well, what he isn't doing, sir, and that's the work he's paid for. Spends most of his time in the potting shed reading the books that she lends him.
I see.
Oh, it's not that I mind the extra work it puts on me, sir. It's the lad I'm thinking of. I mean, what good's all this book learning going to do him? Just give him ideas above his station. That's what it'll do.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean
to... Oh, no. Liz, don't go. No, I think you better hear this, Jeff.
Oh, what?
Apparently, a young tapper has been taking advantage of your interest in him, neglecting his work.
So that's why you took the liberty of returning the book I'd lent him?
Well, I won't deny that, miss. As I see it, I have a duty to the master to see that his servants properly earn the wages that he pays them.
Well, you have exceeded your duty, Gates. How dare you interfere with what I want to do?
Well, that's enough, Liz.
But, Daddy, Gates has no right to interfere.
I said that's enough.
Daddy!
Now, you better leave me to sort this out. I'll talk to you about it later.
Well, I am sorry, sir, if I...
No. No, there is no need to apologise, man. You're quite right to bring it to my attention.
Oh, thank you, sir. You see, it's been going on all the time that you've been away.
Has it? Well, do you think you can make something out of young Tapper? Or shall I get rid of him?
Oh, no young whippersnapper like that gets over me, sir. I'll knock him into shape, all right. Just so long as my authority is not undermined by,
Yes, quite. Now, I'll see to it that he is not encouraged any more.
Oh, thank you, sir. Well, I'll get back to my work then, sir.
Ah, there's a good lad. Make it up well, won't you? It's cold in here, isn't it? Lost your tongue, have you?
No.
Oh, I see. Mr. Gates has been having a go at you, hasn't he?
Mm.
Oh, well, you deserved it, didn't you? Oh, well, I shouldn't let it upset you. It never bears any malice, you know, don't Fred? Here, cup of tea in that pot if you want it.
Oh, thanks.
Go on, help yourself. Never been in service before, have you?
No.
No. Well, it can be a good life, you know. Small staff like this. It's more like a family, really. But you've got to be fair to each other. You've got to pull your weight. Here, eat that for me, will you, love?
Oh, thanks.
Won't be rum in this tin when I bake the fresh stuff. It'll only get wasted.
You make good cake, Mrs. Gates.
I try to. Well, as we're saying, we're like a family here. It's my job to see that you're all fed properly. Oh, heaven knows there's many a time I feel like sitting down and putting my feet up. But when I'm peeling the spuds or I'm making Yorkshires, I'll think to myself, Fred's sure to be hungry at midday. And Jim's a growing lad and eats plenty of food. So I do a few extras just to be sure.
I got a word with the master about... Now, what's he doing hanging around here?
Now, it's all right, Fred. He's just doing a little job for me.
Oh, what?
Clearing out the stale cake. Got to make room for me fresh baking.
Liz? Oh, Liz, I want a word with you.
I'd like a word with you. I'm absolutely furious. One moment you expect me to act as mistress of the house while you and Mummy are away, and the next you treat me like a child and support a servant against me.
Yes, well, if that's what I said, you've every right to be furious.
Oh, I'm glad you think so.
But I don't think it was. Now, Liz, running this house is a new and I think a very valuable experience for you. But you're going to make mistakes from time to time.
There, so I'm in the wrong.
Yes, you were wrong to argue with me in front of Gates.
And I suppose he was right to show his disapproval of my helping Jim by returning the book I'd lent him in that pie-handed way.
Now, Liz, listen to me. I told you this before. I don't want you encouraging young Tabber to read in his spare time, but he comes here to work, not to get an education. It's quite understandable that Gates resents your interest in Tapper when it encourages him to slack.
I'm not encouraging him to slack. I'm simply trying to help an intelligent boy who's never had a proper chance in life. Well, less than an hour ago, you were talking about Vicky, attempting something that might be beyond her reach. Well, why is it right for Vicky and wrong for Jim?
Because Vicky doesn't have to earn her own living, and Tapper does. Now, what is best for him is that he settles down, accepts his position in life, and becomes an honest and reliable worker whom people will want to employ.
Oh, yes, the rich man in his castle and the poor man at his gate.
What?
Well, every time I sing that hymn, I think I begin to see the reasons for the Bolshevik Revolution.
Oh, my dear, now you're talking nonsense.
Well, what was it you just said? Imagine spending the rest of your life wondering if you could have achieved something if you'd only had the courage to try. Well, what about knowing that you'd never had the chance? How do you think people feel about that?
So now you've discovered that the world is full of injustice. And there's not very much I can do about it. Do you know, as far as young Tapper is concerned, now, I could have sent that boy to Borstal, but I didn't. I gave him a job, a chance to make something of himself. Now, what more could I do?
You're right, Daddy. I'm sorry. I'm being unfair. It's not you I'm really cross with. It's Gates. Jim is really a very nice boy when you get to know him, and he's really quite bright. And since I'm to be stuck here for the winter and I can't go on with my medical training...
Yes, I'm sorry about that, Liz.
I'm not complaining. I'm explaining. Since I can't go on for the time being, some compensation to feel that I'm doing something worthwhile.
Well, isn't running this house worthwhile?
Oh, yes, of course it is, but it doesn't take the whole day. I just feel that if I can help that boy train himself for something better than odd jobs, my time isn't entirely wasted.
Yes, dear, I understand. Oh, go on. Help him by all means. But for goodness sake, see that he confines his studies to his spare time. Because you won't be helping him, you know, if you get him in trouble with Gates. Oh, and by the way, don't overdo it, you know. Because the next thing you know, we'll have young Tapper dropping in for cocktails before dinner.
You can't blame young Jim just because she seems to have taken a fancy to him.
He's been baiting his hook, awful young monkey. All this reading's just to make an impression. What's he want with book learning, anyway?
I'll not do him any harm.
I'm not so sure. It makes him feel important. And as my mother used to say, you put a beggar on horseback and he'll ride to the devil.
Oh, have a heart, Fred. He's not a bad lad underneath.
Well, I've seen his like before. If that boy's not kept on a tight rein, he'll come to grief. You mark my words.
Well, I hope you're wrong, Fred. I really do.
Come to that, so do I. Not entirely his fault. Lack of parental control, that's the real problem. I'll fix that handle for you.
All right, thanks, love. You know, you can't blame his mother. She's a widow woman. She's had a hard life. His father died of war wounds 2 years after it was all over.
That was really bad luck. And I bet she was pleased when she heard he'd got a blighty.
I dare say. Heavens, what's the time? Oh, I better be thinking about lunch. The commander's got a guest coming.
Oh, there's a payment here for an extra £6 for labour in December. What's that?
Oh, that is casual help with the hedging and ditching in the lower meadow.
Well, that's it then. Anything else I can do?
No, I don't think so, thank you. Oh, you're not by any chance going to Horbury, are you?
Well, I hadn't planned to. Why?
Well, it's just I got some papers to go back to the magistrate's clerk at the court, huh? Just wondered if you'd like to take them in your car.
Yes, all right. I'll go this afternoon.
Look, why don't you nip off now? Go into Horbury, do a bit of shopping, have some lunch at the White Hart. Food there's really rather splendid, you know. Have a free lunch on me.
Oh, Daddy, that's awfully nice of you, but it's early closing. And in any case, it's not very nice eating on your own. Well, you wouldn't like it here any more than I would at the White Hart.
No, actually, you see, I'm not going to be alone. No, I got Mrs. Cartland coming over for lunch.
Oh, I'd better tell Mrs. Gates.
No, I've already done that.
Well, you forgot to tell me.
Oh, really? Well, it must have slipped my mind, you know. All this business about Tapper.
Well, perhaps I ought to lunch in Horbury after all.
Oh, there's no need to. No reason why if you don't want to.
Well, you've obviously got business to discuss with Mrs. Cartland.
Yes, but we could discuss it after lunch.
While I'm delivering your papers.
Yes, quite.
Anyway, I like Mrs. Cartland.
Yes, of course.
And she'll be able to tell us about her holiday in St. Moritz. I expect you've heard about that, haven't you?
What?
Well, she's probably told you on the train up from Paddington.
Oh, yes, she did. But how did you...
Vicky told me you travelled up together.
Oh. Well, that was a bit of luck, wasn't it? Train journeys can be such a bore.
Can't they? Oh, Jim.
Oh, hello, Miss Elizabeth. Can I do something for you?
Well, I found that old dictionary and I brought back the Dickens for you to finish.
Oh, thanks very much.
You can keep the dictionary. I don't want it back.
Oh, thanks, Miss Elizabeth. I'm really grateful. I just wish there was something I could do for you.
Oh, well, if you feel like that.
Yeah, I do. I'd do anything for you.
Well, then perhaps you clean my car for me. I've just been into Horbury. I felt quite ashamed it was so dirty.
Yeah, all right. Get the best clean it's ever had. Make it shine like new.
Oh, that'll be lovely. Well, here are the keys.
Oh, right.
Oh, you'd better check with Gates in case he wants you to do something for him first.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd better put those books away and all. He'll fly off the handle if he catches me in here again with books. So sit down.
Oh, no, Jim. I don't want to interrupt your work. Otherwise I shall be in trouble again for wasting your time.
You in trouble over me?
Oh, it's nothing serious. Well, don't worry on my account. Actually, I am a bit worried about you.
Why?
Well, Gates has been complaining to my father that you've been neglecting your work.
Yeah, well, he would, wouldn't he? Think some of bad luck because I took that bite.
Oh, no, I don't think it's that. It's my fault, really.
No.
Well, he says that you've been spending your time reading when you should have been working. And if I hadn't encouraged you...
No, look, please don't say that.
Well, then, you must promise me, Jim, that you mustn't read when you're supposed to be working. Otherwise I shall have to stop.
You're all right, I promise. Do you know what this means to me, you see, miss? And nobody ever told me about books before.
Oh, but you must have read books at school.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, they didn't make it interesting, did they? I mean, I joined the library after I left school, you know. Used to cycle over Saturday afternoons on my bike. But the thing was, when I got there were so many books I didn't know where to start, you know, find one to improve me like.
Wasn't there anyone you could ask?
Oh, yeah, I asked the rector once. He told me to go and read a book by a Russian count, Tolstoy or someone.
Tolstoy.
Oh, that's him, yeah. Well, The Kingdom of God is Within You, it was called.
Oh, did you read it?
Well, I didn't get it. God, can you imagine what my friends would have said they seen me reading that? Gordon Bennett, they'd think I'd gone all religious.
Yes, it wasn't a very good choice.
Yeah, well, then I went over and saw the postmistress over Layford, Miss Ellis. Well, I figured being a postmistress, she'd be well educated.
And?
Well, what she suggested turned out to be a passionate love story, or about some white woman goes off to Africa, is captured by slave traders who take off all her... Yeah, what I mean is, like, they capture her, see, and then they put her up for sale, and she's bought by this handsome sultan.
Yes, Jim, I know the sort of book you mean.
Do you? You read it then?
No.
No, I can't imagine you reading that sort of book.
Why do you say that?
Well, it's what my mum calls smutty, not the sort of book a nice young lady would enjoy.
Oh, you'd be surprised what nice young ladies enjoy, Jim.
Eh?
We're all human, Jim, just like other girls. Well, I think I'd better go.
You're all right.
Thank you. Oh, don't spend too much time in the car, eh?
No, right, I won't.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, Miss Elizabeth.
Well, why are you so upset, Arthur? As long as no one else knows.
Yes, but how long can we keep it a secret? See, I'm sure Liz suspects. Nanny? Well, she's been giving me some very strange looks.
But they don't know anything.
Well, did they know we went away at the same time? Came back on the same train?
Oh, yes, that was careless of us. We'll have to be very discreet in future.
That's easy enough. How do I explain why it takes me so long to get back from the clinic? Why, I can't take the girls out there to see their own sister?
Arthur, these situations are always very tricky to handle.
It's the lies and deceit that I don't like, Rosie. I was never very good at that.
Well, I thought you were very good. Especially in front of the Von Reichels.
Yes, well, I didn't think I was doing very well. I had a very bad conscience about it.
Arthur, if you want to stop it, you must come right out and say so. Well, I shall be upset, of course. But it won't make any difference to our friendship.
No, Rosie. I can't back out now. Not after all we've...
Ah, just thought I'd tell you I'm back.
Yes, well, we finished our business.
Yes, I must be off.
Good Lord, what's that?
Commander, come quickly. Jim's just backed Miss Elizabeth's car into the garage wall.
What? Clumsy idiot. I'll kill him.
Oh, well, is the boy all right? I don't know, Madam. I suddenly heard this cry. You see, Miss Elizabeth asked Jim to clean her car for her. She put it away in the garage, you see.
And Jim tried to back it out.
Yeah, and got it into forward gear by mistake. Of course, he's never driven a car before in his life. I mean, it's as Fred says, he doesn't know a gear from a gasket.
What's a gasket?
I haven't the foggiest. Anyway, you can imagine what happened.
Oh, dear, dear, dear. Poor laddie. And is it serious?
Headlight is smashed. The mudguard's bent and the front bumper's all wonky.
Never mind about the car. Jim, is he hurt?
Oh, banged his head and cut his forehead.
Oh, he was as white as a ghost.
Bit of shock. And did they give him anything for it?
I gave him a piece of my mind.
I mean anything to make him feel better.
Oh, I'd like a drop of the master's best Napoleon brandy. No, he wasn't very forthcoming with that.
Alcohol should never be given in cases of shock. Hot, sweet tea's what he should have had.
Oh, Miss Elizabeth loves that car, doesn't she? Do you remember, Nanny, how she fretted and fumed when Miss Anne backed it into the front gate that time?
Indeed I do.
Well, it'll cost a few halfpence to get it repaired. I know what I'd do. I'd stop it out of his wages. That's what I'd do.
You're a fine one to talk.
What do you mean?
Well, I remember the first year you came here.
What about it?
You stoked the stove when the pipes were frozen and blew up the boiler, remember?
Have you ever driven a motor car, Tapper?
No, sir.
Has anyone ever shown you how? Well, then what possessed you to do such a stupid, irresponsible thing?
Well, there wasn't room to clean it properly in the garage, so I tried to push it out, but it was too heavy.
Now, why didn't you call Gates?
Well, I didn't like to bother him, sir. It looked easy. Put my foot at the accelerator instead of the brake. I'm very sorry, sir.
You said the same thing in court, I seem to remember. Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do with you, Tapper. I really don't.
Oh, would it cost an awful lot to get it mended, sir?
I don't know. Well, we haven't had the estimate yet.
Well, I got £3 in the post office. I could let you have that towards it. I'll work overtime without pay to make up the rest.
I'm not really worried about the cost. You see, the question is whether or not you are going to turn into a steady, reliable worker on whom I can depend.
Well, I will, sir. I really will. See, nothing would have happened if I hadn't tried to make both sides shine.
Well, that's all very well. It's not the only thing, is it?
What, sir?
Gates has been complaining that you've been skiving.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, you better get back to your work. But any more complaints, any more trouble, and I'll have to dismiss you. Well, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. Off you go.
Miss Elizabeth?
Have you heard from the garage about my car, Daddy?
No, not at the moment. I've just been carpeting young Tapper.
I just saw him leaving. I feel so angry. I can't bring myself to speak to him.
Oh, well, that's not like you, Liz. Now, you mustn't be too hard on him.
What?
Well, I can quite understand you being upset, but it was, after all, an accident.
Well, he had no right to try and drive it.
That's what I don't think he would have done, you know, if he hadn't been so keen to please you.
I don't understand.
Well, he couldn't get round to clean it properly in the garage, and he wanted to make it shine like new.
It doesn't look very new, does it, with the front bashed in?
He didn't know it was insured. He's offered to pay for it.
Oh, that's absurd. And how could he pay for it? I shouldn't think he's got 2 halfpence to rub together.
Well, he's got £3 in the post office. Offered to work overtime to make up the balance.
You didn't accept.
Well, the widow's mite. What do you think?
I think I'm being rather beastly. He must be far more upset about it than I am.
Very likely, my dear. Very likely indeed.
Ah, Jim.
Oh, Miss Elizabeth?
I've come to tell you not to be too upset about my car.
Oh.
It was very silly of you to try and drive it, and you mustn't ever do it again. Well, not at least until you've learned to drive.
Well, don't worry, miss, I won't. One accident like that's enough for me, thank you.
I was very angry with you at first, but accidents happen. I don't want you to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, but what about all the money it's going to cost to get it mended?
Well, the insurance will pay.
Insurance? What, you mean you don't have to pay anything?
That's what insurance is for.
God, I never thought that. You mean you don't have to pay nothing?
Not a penny.
Oh, that's all right then. God, he's awake half the night. Think I'd upset you. I'd rather have been anyone but you.
Yes, well, you're forgiven.
Oh, that's all right then. Well, I was afraid you'd be that angry with me you wouldn't come near me again or help me any more with my work.
Oh, Jim, that would be very petty. I'm hurt that you should think that of me.
Oh, no, miss, I didn't mean that. All I meant was that...
I'm only pulling your leg, Jim. Don't you know when a girl is teasing you?
Well, not really, miss. I don't have that much to do with girls.
Oh, come on. A good-looking boy like you must have some girlfriends in the village.
Well, I haven't. Well, at least not a special one. Anyway, you're different.
How do you mean different?
Well, you're not a girl, are you? You're a young lady.
Colonel's lady and Judy O'Grady are sisters under the skin.
Eh?
Rudyard Kipling.
What's it meaning?
Well, you work that out for yourself. Hey, weren't you supposed to be writing an essay? What's happened to it?
Oh, well, I'm almost done, miss. I'm going to finish it off for me dinner hour.
All right, well, look, I'll come back later this evening and look at it then.
Yeah, all right, I'd like that.
About 5?
Fine. Colonel's lady and Judy O'Grady are sisters under the skin. Sisters under the skin? Hey.
Oh, it's Mr. Cartland, sir, to speak to Miss Elizabeth. Mr. Peter Cartland.
Oh, that's it. Would you see if you can find Miss Elizabeth for me?
Yes, sir.
Hello, Peter. How are you? Yes, fine, thanks very much. Elizabeth? Yes, she's extremely well. She's a bit bored, you know, with just me for company. How long are you, well, then perhaps we might see something of you. No, there's no further news, I'm afraid. Yes, it is. It's a great worry. But then, all we can do is have faith. Oh, will you hold on? Here she is now.
Mrs. Gates said that it's Peter.
Yes, it is, dear. Now, he's down for the weekend, so why not ask him over? Bit of company do you good.
Oh, good idea. Dinner tomorrow?
Whatever you feel.
Peter? Oh, nice to hear your voice. How are you? Oh, deadly. My house seems so empty with everybody away. Well, I'd love to. When? Tonight? No, I'm not doing anything, but it's a bit short notice. Well, it's different for a girl. No, I'm not refusing. But, look, I think I'd better check with my father first to see what his plans are. I'll ring you straight back. Right, bye. Daddy?
Come in.
Peter's invited me to partner him for a dance tonight.
Well, I hope you said you would.
I said check with you first.
Well, where's the dance?
Friends of theirs over at Lockley.
All right, my dear, you go and you enjoy yourself. Peter's a very nice boy.
Right, I'll ring him back and accept.
Just put some hot water in the pot, Jim. The tea's quite strong.
Oh, all right, thanks. What about Mr. Gates? Do you want a cup?
Oh, no, he went into Whole Brill. I don't know when he'll be back.
All right. Oh, you beautiful doll, you great big beautiful doll. Let me put my arms about you. La da 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 da. Oh,
Somebody sounds happy.
Oh, sorry, Nanny, didn't you come in?
Oh, don't apologise. I like to hear people singing. What are you doing down here anyway?
Oh, just having a cup of tea. Mr. Gates said I could.
Oh, that'll be all right then.
Well, do you fancy a cup? There's plenty in the pot.
Yes, thank you. Oh, you got over your troubles then, eh?
What, about the car?
Yes.
Yeah, well, the master went off the deep end, but Miss Elizabeth, she's been very good about it.
Ah, she would. A very nice nature.
Yeah, she's not snobby like a lot of the knobs. Some of them treat you like dirt.
Oh, you're not referring to the commander?
Oh, no, he's not so bad.
Not so bad? The commander's a very kind, considerate gentleman. Jim, I've been with this family for 50 years. And if I had my time to live over again, I wouldn't change a moment of it.
50 years? God, I don't know you could stand it that long.
Oh, I've been very happy.
Well, it wouldn't suit me. God, I want to go somewhere. I want to do something in my life, not always be someone's servant.
Then I'm not just a servant, Jim. I'm a nanny.
Oh, well, no, Nanny, I wasn't meaning you. I mean, you went to a training school, didn't you? Like a teacher or a nurse.
Well, I most certainly did. And when I was just a young woman, I decided this was the career I wanted.
Yeah, well, you were lucky, weren't you? I mean, I have to take whatever job comes along just to get the money.
What would you like to train for if you had the chance, Jim?
That's the trouble, Nanny, I don't know. I mean, all the men I know are labourers or road workers in service or on a farm. I mean, that's if they're not on a dole. I mean, I don't even know what I could do, or even if I'd be any good at it.
You ever think of going to night school?
Oh, yeah, well, the nearest one round here is over at Albury. I went there for a few weeks. But the lessons were too hard. I mean, I felt so stupid in front of all the others, you know, when I couldn't do the questions or, you know, answer the sums.
Perhaps you'd been better in a lower form.
Lanny, that was the lowest.
Ah.
Why, you know, that's why I'm so grateful to Miss Elizabeth for all the help she gives me, like.
Ah, yes, but you mustn't rely too much on her, you know.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, with Mrs. Bourne away, she's a lot to do. And she's got her own life to lead, too. Well, I mustn't keep you here talking. Thanks for the tea, dear.
Yeah, all right, Nanny.
I want the large bulbs in this box and the small ones in that one. I'll give you a hand.
All right.
You got a garden at home?
Yeah, I've got a small patch.
What do you grow?
Oh, vegetables mostly.
We got more of these than we need. You can have a few if you like. They make a nice show.
Oh, Tom. Old girl loves flowers.
Nice to see you today.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Oh, gave me a right blistering.
I'll bet. Giving you another chance, so is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, count yourself lucky. Some way forward would have given you the boot.
Yeah, well, it's not as if he's going to cost him anything, is it? I mean, Miss Elizabeth said the insurance is going to pay.
Oh, that's not the point. It was a soppy thing to do to try and move that car.
Yeah, well, I know that now, don't I?
Well, we all make mistakes. I'll tell you what, Jim. You behave yourself and I'll teach you to drive properly.
You will?
It's a promise. But only on condition that you do as you're told. No more shirking, all right?
Oh, yes, Mr. Gates. Oh, I'd really like that. Thanks very much.
I don't suppose you'll ever own a car of your own any more than I shall, but I reckon a good chauffeur handyman will always be able to get a job.
Yeah, I know. That'd be really valuable for me, that.
Yeah, well, it's not just the driving. You've got a lot to learn. You got to be a jack of all trades. You put your mind to it, Jim, and I'll make you worth $500 a year. Oh, I don't say you'll ever get it, but you'll be worth it.
Invited to a dance tonight, and I've got so much to do to get ready. Can you help me?
Yes, of course I can, dearie. A dance? Oh, that'll be lovely. What can I do then?
Well, my hair's a mess for a start.
Well, we'll put that right. I'll heat the curling tongs. Anything else?
Yes, I want to wear my yellow dress, but it's all creased.
I dare say. Well, we'll sort that too. You bring the dress, I'll get my iron, and I'll lend it to Mrs. Gates.
Right.
Right. Irene, have you got my iron there, dear? I want to do a dress for Miss Elizabeth for tonight.
Yes, Nanny. Certainly. Get it for you. So, big do tonight, is it?
Oh, she's going to a dance tonight. She's quite excited.
Well, it'll do her good. I mean, it's no life for her. Stuck here, is it, with her mother and her sisters away?
That's right. Well, thank you very much.
Right.
There, I've got the iron through there. Let me have the dress. Soon get those creases out.
You're an absolute angel. I don't know what I'd do without you.
Oh, you've managed fine. But I'll enjoy doing it. I've nowhere near enough work to keep me busy these days.
Well, that's a good job. At least you can take it easy now.
Oh, no, I don't like to feel useless, you know. You see, the trouble is when you've led an active life, it goes against the grain to find you can't do all that you'd like to do. Don't ever grow old, dearie. Not very nice.
Oh, Nanny, I promise you I won't. At least not for another 50 years, anyway.
Well, make the most of them, dear. They go past so quickly.
I'm determined to make the most of tonight. Do you like Peter Cartland?
He's a good-looking young chap. And from what I hear, his father's very comfortably off.
Oh, he has stacks of money. He makes motor cars, you know.
I don't know that I really approve of that.
Oh, Nanny, don't be so old-fashioned.
Oh, I know you can't stop progress, and a motor car's very useful, but... You know, I liked horses. When your father and your Aunt Phyllis were we had a governess carriage all to ourselves.
I know, I've seen photos of it.
With old Blackie. Oh, he was such a knowing old horse. Many's the good times we had going clippity-clop along the lanes to the village. It was all so quiet and peaceful then. You can keep your noisy, smelly old motor cars. Give me a horse any day. Oh, I must have been ironing this stuff.
You still here, Jim? You should have been gone half hour ago.
Oh, what time is it?
Turned up as 5.
Oh, already? Well, I've been up busy tidying up. I haven't noticed the time.
Yes, I can see that. You made a good job of it. You better get off home now.
Yeah, all right. I'll just finish off the sacks and all away.
Please yourself. Well, I'll say good night then.
Yeah, all right.
Don't be late in the morning.
No, I won't. Night.
Wonders will never cease.
Why, what's happened?
Young Jim, still working.
Oh, well, he must have taken what the commander said to heart, then.
And what I said.
Oh, Fred, you haven't been getting on at him again, have you?
Getting on at him? No, I believe in the stick and the carrot.
I haven't the faintest idea what you're talking about.
A bit of encouragement. I've told him that if he behaves himself, I'll teach him to drive properly.
Oh, well, no wonder he's working so hard, then.
Well, it gives him something to work for. As I see it, a chap who can drive will never be short of work. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if the time comes when you can't get a handyman job without it.
You know, you're a funny one. I never thought you liked that boy enough to bother.
Well, I was thinking about his dad, dying of wounds 2 years after the war was over.
What about it?
Well, we were all in it together, weren't we? Comrades, we used to say. Seems only right that the lucky ones should give a bit of help to the kids of... Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Oh, hello.
What on earth are you doing here?
Oh, I thought you must have
Look,
forgotten.
this is my bedroom. You can't come up here like this.
I only came so that you could...
Jim, it doesn't matter why you came. It just isn't done to intrude into a lady's private bedroom.
Oh, sorry, miss. I didn't mean to offend you.
Look, I'm sure you didn't, but you can't go wandering around the house as you like. There'd be hell to pay if my father caught you up here.
I didn't know what to do. I waited for you for
Jim,
an hour.
please, will you go? Before anyone comes.
What about my essay? You promised to read it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Look, I haven't got time now. I'm going out.
You never said anything about going out.
Well, I didn't know when I spoke to you earlier. A man I know telephoned me and asked me out to a dance.
Oh.
So please, Jim, let me get dressed and don't ever walk in here like this again.
All right. I'm going. Sorry I made a mistake.
Yes, it was a mistake to come here.
Yeah, and a mistake to think you'd remember I was waiting.
Elizabeth, I can scarcely believe my eyes. What would your mother have said if she'd seen that boy coming out of your room?
For goodness sake, Nanny, don't think I invited him here.
I don't know what to think. I'm absolutely shocked.
Look, I just came from the bathroom and I found him in here.
I see. Oh, how dare he? What was he thinking about?
Well, I promised to read an essay that he'd written. He didn't mean any harm.
Well, maybe not, but he's no idea of his place. Taking liberties like that. Now, that's what comes of being too friendly with him. It's a big mistake.
Everybody keeps telling me I'm wrong to try and help him.
Well, you're a bonny wee girl. You can't take chances with a boy like that.
Look, Nanny, I'm 22. I can take care of myself and I know what I'm doing. You've got to trust me, all of you.
That's all very well, but I'm not blind. That boy is infatuated with you.
Oh, Nanny, that's nonsense. Well, maybe he's just got a bit of a crush. He'll get over it.
Let's hope so.
Nanny, please, don't mention this to Daddy, will you? Well, if he found out, he'd sack him on the spot. I'm sure Jim won't make the same mistake again.
Very well, I won't mention it. But I hope you're right, for his sake as well as yours. Well, here's your dress, dear. Better get you ready. Never do to keep Mr. Cartland waiting.
How do I look?
Absolutely delightful. Peter's a very lucky young man to have such a lovely partner.
Oh, let's hope he thinks so.
Yes, but don't you go and ever get married, young woman, you know. I don't know what I'd do without you.
Oh, you'd manage. Anyway, you don't need me here all the time. You're going away again, aren't you, on the 15th?
Yes. Yes, I'm sorry I have to leave you, but... No, would you like a drink?
A glass of sherry, please. Are you going to Freiburg?
Yes, yes, of course.
Well, then, Daddy, why can't Vicky and I come with you? Well, after all, Anne is our sister, and I'm sure she'd be glad to see us.
Yes, dear, I'm sure she would. But Dr. Edelman feels it would be better with just your mother and me there for the time being.
Yes, but...
We'll have to wait and see how she's getting on. Perhaps next month? Here's to a delightful evening. Oh, that sounds like Peter Knight.
He's early.
Well, it's the early bird.
Daddy.
It's quite inappropriate. I'll let him in. Ah, Peter, do come in.
Good evening, sir. I'm a bit early. I hope I'm not disturbing anything.
No, no, not in the least. Do go on.
Thank you.
Hello, Peter.
Hello, Liz. Say, that dress suits you. Don't you think so, Commander Bourne?
Yes, yes, I do.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, what will you have?
Oh, just a small whiskey with a splash of soda, thank you.
Peter, come and sit down.
Thank you.
How's your mother?
Oh, fine, fine. She's well. She's off abroad again next week.
Oh, she gets around, doesn't she? She was here yesterday. She didn't say anything about that, did she, Daddy?
No, I don't think she did.
No, she's just made up her mind. Some fashion show in Paris on the 15th she decided to go to. Oh, thank you, sir.
Your very good health.
And yours, sir.
Right. Daddy's going away again next week, aren't you?
Yes, I had to go back to Frybaker to see the doctors about Anne. Oh, Liz will be on her own. You must pop over sometime.
Oh, I'd love to. Unfortunately, I shall be back in London. Some business dinner with my father. I'm sorry about that.
It's all right. I'm used to being on my own these days. But since your stepmother and my father are going to the continent at the same time, well, perhaps you could travel together.
No, my dear Liz, I go from Harwich to the Hook of Holland. And Mrs. Cartland, no doubt, will be travelling on the Golden Arrow as Dover Cannon.
Yes, she is. Well, Liz, I think perhaps we should be getting on our way.
Now, let me take that for you.
Thank you. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, dear.
Good night, sir.
Good night. Enjoy yourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, off it then.
Thank you.
All right, Rosie. I'll ring you as soon as I get to Paris. By the way, have you booked in Berlin? Well, the Adlon? That's a splendid hotel. Yeah, yes, we shall be extremely comfortable.
Hello, Winchley 8.
I'm sorry to wake you in the middle of the night. No, Vicky's here with me. Could you get your father to the telephone? It is rather important.
He's not back yet.
Not back from Germany?
He was due back this afternoon. I thought this might be a call from him.
Oh, well, listen, my darling, I don't want to worry you, but it's Granny.
Granny?
She rang this evening about 7:15, feeling really pretty ill. We went straight round to Artillery Mansions and found her absolutely gasping for breath and very frightened, though of course she tried hard not to show it.
Oh, my goodness.
I telephoned her own doctor immediately, and he said it sounded like an acute bronchial infection. I got her straight into London Clinic with a private ambulance. And Dr. Blackstone is anxious that Daddy should come straight round to see her.
It must be possible to contact him.
But you don't know where he is.
Well, perhaps he stayed overnight in London before coming on here in the morning.
Oh, surely he'd have telephoned if so.
Well, not if he got to London so late. Look, I'll put a call through to Mummy in Freiburg and see if he left yesterday on the train as arranged.
I can do that.
No, it's all right, Phyllis.
I really think I ought, Liz, if you'll just give me the phone number.
Phyllis, please. I'll telephone you as soon as I've spoken to her.
Very well, if you insist.
Will you be seeing Granny tonight?
Oh, it depends on what the doctors say. They've promised to ring here if there's any change. Oh, now call me straight back.
Yes, all right, Phil. Bye.
Sorry to be such a nuisance.
The doctor said if only you'd been called 2 days earlier. I should have rung her every night.
It's not your fault.
She's always been so obstinate about illness. She'd never admit it until she couldn't hide it any longer. Father used to get so cross with her about it. One forgets. Parents aren't going to be around forever.
I'll go round to her flat first thing in the morning and ask her maid to pack toothbrush and nightgowns and things.
I'll come with you.
Don't you think one of us ought to be by the telephone?
Yes, I suppose you're right. I'm sure it can't take this long to put a call through to Germany. What has happened to Arthur?
Well, he has been rather erratic lately.
Oh?
Changing plans at the last minute and then popping up unexpectedly. Not like him at all.
Vicky, I do wish you'd go to bed. There's nothing I can't manage myself.
I couldn't sleep.
Well, you must if you're to be fresh for your academy audition on Wednesday.
Oh, Aunt Phyllis, I couldn't think of anything less important.
Langham 2315.
Bill, I got through to Mummy. Thank goodness they all speak English out there.
What about Arthur?
He left yesterday morning. She was astonished that we hadn't heard from him.
He left yesterday.
Perhaps there's been a hold-up on the German railways.
Vicky says perhaps there's been a hold-up on the railway.
Yes, that's possible. The night operator said that all calls to Germany were taking rather a long time, due to the troubles.
What troubles?
I don't know.
Well, didn't you ask him?
Well, it was just as he was putting me through to Freiburg, and I lost him. Perhaps he meant engineering troubles.
And he definitely was on that train?
Yes, Mummy saw him off. He caught the 9 a.m. to Hamburg, where he was due to change onto the Luxembourg line. It's too late now to ring the German railway. I'll put a call through to them in the morning.
What about his club?
Oh, hang on a minute, Liz. No, darling, the night porter can only take a message for the morning.
Well, surely he'd know if Daddy was staying there.
No.
But what about Mr. Cartland?
Him?
Well, tell her.
Vicky says, what about Mr. Cartland?
Oh, well, I phoned him as soon as I'd spoken to Mummy. He said that we were not to worry and that he knows Daddy's quite safe. He said it 2 or 3 times.
Knows he's safe?
Look, I'm going to catch the first train up to London tomorrow morning. Have you heard from the clinic again?
No, but they will ring if there are any developments.
I've just got to find Daddy. I'll see you tomorrow, Phil. Bye.
Mrs. Gates! Mrs. Gates! Oh, Miss Elizabeth, we found your note when we got in this morning. Bronchitis, that's dreadful.
Yes, well, let's hope it's not too serious.
I've made you some coffee in the kitchen.
Oh, no, please, it doesn't matter about coffee.
But of course it matters, miss. You can't travel all the way to London with nothing inside you. Anyway, Gates has gone to get the car. He'll run you to the station.
Mrs. Gates, we've been unable to contact the commander. Oh. He was due back yesterday afternoon, as you may know. He must have been delayed en route somewhere.
I see, miss.
So, if he telephones or even arrives home, would you ask him to ring me at Miss Phyllis's flat at once? Or if there's no reply, to try the London clinic?
Yes.
Oh, morning, miss.
Oh, the coffee.
The car's here, miss. We ought not to be long if you're going to catch that 7:58.
Yes, all right, Gates. I'll only be a moment. Would you be kind enough to take my case?
Here you are, miss. I've brought you coffee. I was going to do your boiled egg as well if you've got time.
I don't think I could manage an egg. Mrs. Gates, would you look after Nanny for me? I don't like leaving her in the house by herself.
Well, miss, whenever anything like this happens, we always ask her to come over and sleep at the lodge. But, you know, she never will.
Excuse me, miss. Mr. Carlin's car's just turning into the drive. Shall I tell him we're just off to the station?
No, it's all right. We've got a few minutes, haven't we?
Well, we ought to be away by past at the latest. I'm very fond of the old Wolsey, but speed's no longer 40.
Good morning. May I come in?
Oh, yes, do please, Mr. Cartland.
Good morning.
Though I'm afraid I've got to run for the London train in a moment.
Ah.
Can I have you some coffee?
No, thank you. I'll just have breakfast.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Gates. I was so sorry to have woken you up last night.
Goodness gracious, no, you did exactly the right thing. Has there been any further news?
Oh, not since then, no. And my aunt would let me know of any developments.
Good, good. I hope you're not going to worry over much about Lady Bourne. She's a remarkably fit woman, you know. She'll in a day
You
or two-
forget my medical training, Mr. Cartland. An acute bronchial infection at her age can be very dangerous indeed.
Ah, yes, indeed, I
It's
suppose.
by far the most common cause of death in old people, even when they're receiving the finest medical treatment as she is. It's very kind of you to try and comfort me,
But I really should know better, shouldn't I? Or at any rate, pick my place more carefully. Elizabeth, if there's anything, I mean anything, I can do, you will let me know, won't you?
Yes, I will.
Any hour of the day or night. And look, here's my private number. That's my office at the works. You've got the Lavard number. I hate to see you so distressed.
It's very kind of you to call at this hour.
Nonsense. It's the least I can do. I have to pass the house on the way to Wolverhampton anyway, you know.
You start early?
Yes, I like to be at my desk at 8 o'clock. The early bird. When Rose is at home, she tries to stop me getting up quite so early, so I take advantage of her absence whenever I can.
But she's back now, isn't she?
No, she was due back yesterday, but she sent a wire to say that she wanted to spend another extra day in Paris. Shopping, I suppose. She didn't really say why.
Oh.
I see, the same thoughts occurred to you, wasn't it?
What?
Well, you know that Rosie and your father were very close friends for a number of years. and
I'm sure
possibly-
she would have mentioned it to you if that were the case.
Not necessarily. She's a very independent lass. You didn't know about your father and Rosie, didn't you?
Yes, of course.
Well, it's possible that if they did meet somewhere, they decided to come back together today.
Is that what you came to tell me?
What?
I just wonder why you didn't mention all this last night.
Because, Elizabeth, the thought didn't occur to me until after I was in bed, after I talked to you on the telephone. I came here this morning hoping to be of some sort of service to you.
Where is Mrs. Cartland staying in Paris?
Oh, at the Creole, I expect. I haven't phoned this morning because I expect they're halfway home by now in view of the recent crisis.
The what?
Armistice, Claire. What haven't you heard? Haven't you seen the newspapers?
No.
The German army marched into the Rhineland yesterday. Good God, I think every train service in Europe has been stretched to the utmost. All the airliners are packed with English people and Americans trying to get out as quickly as possible. I'm sorry, I didn't realize you didn't know.
How serious is that?
What Hitler's done. Well, I think we and the French will have to retaliate.
What fighting?
Possibly. Mr. Baldwin is going to speak to us on the wireless this evening.
Why didn't you tell me this last night?
Last night, it was really just a matter of rumor. I didn't want to upset you unnecessarily. Being, as you probably know, Elizabeth, rather fond of you.
Excuse me, miss.
Good gracious, Gates, can we still do it in the time?
We can try.
Look, you must let me drive you to the station. I'm obviously the reason why you're late.
No, please, Mr. Cartland, it's very kind of you.
Elizabeth, please. I have to go to the town anyway. What about luggage?
Well, I'll put your bag into Mr. Cartland's car then, shall I, miss?
Yes, thank you, Gates.
Right on, miss.
It's really very kind of you, Mr. Cartland.
You should call me by my first name. 'Tis Geoffrey, you know.
Yes, all right, thank you, Geoffrey.
Miss Elizabeth, you'll have to go. Will you give our good wishes to Lady Bourne and tell her we're all thinking of her?
Yes.
Goodbye, miss. Goodbye, miss. Goodbye, sir. In the mail that there's been rioting in some of those French cities because of this Hitler business. People got injured. Foreigners or anyone thought to be German. One man got stabbed.
Oh, I'm sure the commander's perfectly able to look after himself, Ren.
I hope you're right, Eileen.
where's my son?
I believe Commander Bourne's due back in London at any minute.
What's today?
It's Tuesday afternoon, Lady Bourne.
He should be here.
Will you excuse me for a moment?
I do wish I could see a newspaper. There's a newsboy just outside. Listen. No, don't shut it. I want to hear what's going on.
She's over the fever, but extremely weak. I must ask you not to tire or distress her in any way.
Of course not.
Dr. Harbord Taylor asked me to explain that the next 24 hours will be critical. Not because of the infection, but because of the acute exhaustion which follows in someone of her age. Dr. Harbord Taylor says that Lady Bourne does not know about this, and you must under no circumstances tell her. I understand Commander Bourne did not return from Germany yesterday as expected.
That's right.
And Lady Bourne is not at all aware of the unrest out there. I mean the news in the papers.
I don't see how she could be.
Then I think it would be as well not to tell her, for the time being.
The Commander's father-in-law is coming up from Datchet this morning, though I'm not sure what time he'll arrive.
Well, we'll see how she is when he gets here.
I bought some things round in this sponge bag and sent them, so...
Oh, yes, thank you. I'll take it.
I'm not asleep. Hello, dears.
Mother, darling.
Lovely to see you.
Hello, Granny.
Vic and Don. Sit down, both of you. Chairs somewhere.
How are you feeling?
Oh, pretty well, I think. You did look after me so well, whenever it was.
What, darling?
You remember when I was ill in my flat?
Last night.
Was it? Oh, Billy would be so cross with me not calling the doctor earlier. Dr. Houghton, the consultant.
Taylor.
Taylor. Yes. He gave me quite a ticking off about it. He's a dear man. But he doesn't seem to realize that the next 24 hours are the important ones. Not so much for the infection as the exhaustion that follows afterwards in someone of my age. The Bournes have always been a chesty family. I went through all this with Arthur because it's the same thing with infants, you see. Where is Arthur?
On his way back from Freiburg, darling, you remember?
From Helen and Anne?
That's right.
But he was due yesterday.
Was he?
Yes.
There's been a delay on the German railways, Granny. We expect him back at any moment.
Oh, then he's telegraphed.
No. We rang the German railway office in London when he didn't arrive. They knew about it.
I've never heard such a thing before. The German railways not running on time.
You know it's my audition tomorrow.
What, darling?
My entrance audition to the Royal Academy of Music.
Oh.
I tried to practice just now on Aunt Phyllis's piano, but my fingers all turned to bananas.
Well, tell Granny about it, Vicky.
Yes.
Oh, well, I have to play 6 pieces in front of the principal, Sir John McEwen, and Dr. Richards, the warden. We sit in a great big bare room, just the 3 of us, and I have to play on the famous golden piano. Oh, it's a beautiful grand, which has lots of marvellous inlay in it, which makes it look just like gold. Well, all sorts of famous people have played on it. Well, I'm going to start with the Beethoven sonatas, then the Schubert, leaving the Stravinsky pieces till last.
The which pieces?
Stravinsky, darling. He's a modern composer.
Oh, yes. With his Hottentot Stompers.
Darling, I think you're thinking of someone else.
Then I do my second study with my oral tests and then my theory paper.
And you'll pass, darling.
Oh, Granny, I don't see how. The standard is so fearfully high. I just go icy thinking about it.
I know you'll pass. Just keep on practicing your scale.
A fortnight at least, and then a long convalescence.
How long?
Well, that rather depends on how closely she's prepared to follow medical advice.
Oh, dearie me. Oh, hello, my dears. Hello.
Lady Bourne is not aware that Mr. Ashley is here. I rather wanted her to have a tiny rest before he goes in.
Oh, yes, that's quite right.
I was going to ask if you could arrange to have some more things sent over for your grandmother. She could do with another bed jacket.
Oh,
And if you could
Phyllis.
arrange possibly-
Yeah. On my way here, I saw something in the Times which made me go straight round to your flat and use your telephone. Hope you don't mind. But your cleaning woman let me in.
Well, of course not, but what was it?
The others mustn't know about this, but apparently there was rioting in Hamburg last night and 3 Britons were beaten up. They're in hospital, and they're not revealing their names until the relatives have been informed. Now, it's probably absolutely nothing to do with Arthur, but just to make absolutely sure, I telephoned an old boy of mine in the Foreign Office, and he's checking on the names, and he's going to ring back later on your number.
Then I'll make sure that I take all the calls.
Yes, if you would, Phyllis, dear. Oh, my lordy, she didn't hear me, did she? Huh? Oh, sister, could I go in now, do you think?
Oh, yes, that will be all right.
Thank you.
I understand Lady Bourne lives by herself.
She has her maid.
Living in?
Oh, yes.
I know Dr. Harbour Taylor wanted to speak to you about that. She's been very seriously ill, Miss Bourne. She still is, of course. Her maid will need time off, but someone must be with Lady Bourne all the time.
Could I take my coat off, Alice, dear?
Of course.
Well, now, Elizabeth will be coming quite soon now. She got the very first train this morning, so as to come and see you.
I have no intention of leaving the scene quite so rapidly.
Oh, Alice, dear, I'm sure that wasn't in her mind at all.
But I'm very worried about Arthur out in Germany.
Are you, dear? Why?
Well, but for goodness sake, with Hitler charging down the Rhine like a mad bull. Oh, Germany and all Europe's in an awful state. There's been street fighting, you know.
What? Well, how did you know that?
The porter told me when he brought up those flowers.
Oh.
But don't say anything to Phyllis and Vicky. I don't want them to worry about it being out there.
Very well, I won't.
Oh, Charles, I'm so afraid this may lead to war again.
Now, Alice, come.
Well, we must act. We'll have to act according to the treaty. What's it called?
The Locarno Pact.
Yes, that's right. With Germany marching into a demobilized area, tearing up every treaty and promise in sight.
Now, Alice, dear, I'm sure all this will be settled in a very civilized manner. Now, Eden may be very young, but as Foreign Secretary, he's showed admirable character in situations just like this. And whatever one may think of Hitler, he's no fool. And to go to war with France and us at a time like this would be extremely foolish.
But he is a fool. That's what makes me so worried.
Oh, no. I mean, he may have been a corporal in the war, but it doesn't follow.
But he wasn't a corporal. Oh, I can't tell you how it annoys me when I hear people say that.
Now, Alice, dear, you must keep calm.
He was a Gefreiter, and that isn't even a lance corporal.
No.
However, it looks as though he'd be able to start a war.
Now, Alice, dear, you must not worry about it.
How can one help worrying? Arthur might be called up again.
No. What, at his age?
He was called to the Admiralty just after Christmas, and he's never said what that was about.
No, he was rather secretive about it.
I know they'll want him back in the service if things get worse. Oh, where is he? Why doesn't he come?
All right. Now, Alice, dear, I think I ought to go now, because you must get a little sleep.
Oh,
Yeah.
but leave me your times.
What?
Will you? Times in pocket. Oh, God.
But, Alice, dear, I haven't done the crossword yet.
Oh, don't be so mean.
Oh.
I'm a sick woman, and I want to read about what's happening in the world.
Well, you see, as a matter of fact, Alice, I dropped the Times in a puddle on the way here. It's in an awful state, really, but I'll arrange to have another sent to you later. Oh, yes. Now...
Don't go.
But I must go, dear, and you must get some sleep.
Charles.
Yes.
I'm so afraid of going before Arthur gets back.
Oh, Alice, what nonsense. You're going to outlive us all.
Mr. Ashley.
Yes, I'm coming. Au revoir, my dear. And I'll come again this evening, and I'll bring you an evening paper.
Come along now, Lady Bourne. Drink this down.
So tired. If only Arthur was here. Where can he be?
Oh, Lord. I suppose I could. This is Langham 2315. Yes, it is. Oh, Roger. Yes, I see. Well, it's very good of you. Yes, it is. Anyway, thank you very much. All right, Roger, I'll hear from you later. Goodbye. Well, now. Girls can't hear? No. Well, 2 of the men in hospital are definitely not Arthur. The 3rd man is still unconscious, and they don't know his name or anything about him because he has no identification papers of any sort.
But a description...
Yes, but you see, the constable was only asked to send names, so Roger has now wired back asking for a description of the 3rd man. But I think the chances of it being Arthur are absolutely infinitesimal.
Well, then why haven't we heard from him?
I don't know.
Well, is there anything useful in the Times?
Well, I was going to look in the telegrams. That's the most likely section. I chose old fruit, 14 letters.
For goodness sake, Grandpa. I would have thought there was something more to concern us this morning than the crossword.
Dear child, doing the crossword is the one thing that keeps me calm.
I can't imagine anything that would drive me wilder. Operator, would you get me Winchley 8, please? It's in Herefordshire. Langham 2315. Oh, Phil, you don't mind if I use your phone?
No, of course not.
I just want to find out if the Gates have heard anything.
Well, surely they'd let us know.
Well, probably. Will you ring me back? Yes, all right. I just wanted to make sure. Phil, is there any of that coffee left?
Well, it needs reheating.
Oh, I don't mind as it is.
Oh, there's still some toast, and I recommend the marmalade. As usual, it is excellent. In fact, that's the real reason that I come here to breakfast instead of my club.
Well, you can think of food at a time like this. Thank you.
But, my dear Liz, eating is the most prudent activity during any emergency. It calms the nerve and sets one up against any meals which later one may have to skip.
Have we had from the clinic again?
Not since you spoke to them at 8 o'clock.
I thought I heard the telephone just now.
No, that was something else.
Have you read the news page yet, Grandpa?
Well, I've just glanced at it. Europe isn't the happiest place just now.
Vicky really will have to have something to eat before she goes.
Well, I suppose she is up.
Oh, she is now.
Oh.
I was with her half the night trying to get her to sleep. She's very worried about Mother, and she seems to think that her audition is going to be a gothic chamber of horrors.
Oh, what time's she due at the academy?
9:30.
Well, good gracious me, she'll have to bustle.
Vicky!
Oh,
Vicky,
Liz,
darling,
will you?
come on.
Yes, yes. Hello? Yes, thank you. Gates, it's Miss Elizabeth. Has there been any word from the commander?
No, Miss Elizabeth, I'm afraid there hasn't. How's Lady Bourne?
She had a quiet night on the whole.
Oh, she's still quite serious, though.
Yes, I'm afraid so.
Mr. Cartland's here, Missy. He just came over and he'd like to have a word with you. Hang on a moment, I'll pass the receiver over to him.
Hello, Elizabeth. Good morning. I gather there are no new developments.
I'm afraid that's right.
I called at the house this morning because I've had an overnight wire from Rosie. Apparently all the French ports are jam-packed. She's headed for Antwerp by train, going north, hoping to get a crossing from there more easily.
Oh, I see.
There's a whole section of the Daily Express devoted to this new emergency, talking about trouble with the transport across Europe and that sort of thing.
I suppose Mrs. Cartland's telegram didn't say anything about...
No, she didn't mention anyone else.
I see. Well, it's very kind of you to let us know, Mr. Cartland.
Geoffrey.
Yes, Geoffrey.
Something else did occur to me. You've got friends in Munich, haven't you?
Well, the family have, the von Heinigs.
Well, isn't it possible to contact them? I'm sure they can make inquiries in their own country. They probably know more about the crisis than we could possibly do here.
Yes, that's certainly a thought. Thank you.
I'm very fond of you, Elizabeth. I'm very fond of you all. I'm very worried about the situation. You will keep me posted, won't you?
Yes, of course I will. Goodbye, and thank you.
No, it got Christian names.
And now you two.
Mrs. Cartland is coming home via Antwerp. Apparently, the French ports are packed. Well, he thinks that Daddy may have hit the same snag and be coming the same way.
Well, then why didn't he wire us?
He suggested, why not asking the von Heinigs if they could make inquiries from Munich?
Well, that's an idea.
Well, I don't see there's any point. We don't know enough.
No. Liz, it was you who phoned the clinic this morning and not Phyllis.
Yes, that's right.
Well, what did they say exactly?
Well, that her condition hadn't changed for the better or worse. Well, at this stage, it's a good sign.
How so?
Well, there's been no re-emergence of the infection overnight.
Oh, I see. Well, I didn't say anything yesterday, but she struck me as being very flimsy. Although, of course, she put up a grand show for me.
I think she's worried about Daddy.
Aren't we all?
Lady Bourne had bronchitis before, you know, sir. She nearly died of it.
No, I didn't know that.
That'd be in 1921 or 22. The commander and Mrs. Bourne were in Bermuda at the time, I remember. Oh, because the old admiral was alive then, sir, and he nursed her through it day and night. The doctor said that was what saved her. But what it really was the rum.
The rum?
Well, he never told the doctor, sir, but he used to give her great big tots of rum. Oh, none of your wine merchant stuff either. This was naval issue. Real passer. Ocular cure, he used to call it. Don't you tell anyone, Gates, he used to say to me, well, this is the way we've always treated it in the Navy, and it always works. It did, too. She was back to normal again within a month. Much happier, too, I thought.
Perhaps you ought to be getting that now, eh?
Well, it's a thought, isn't it, sir?
Thank you, Gates.
Good morning, Grandpa. Oh, I feel awful.
Good morning, Vicky.
Very well. Not for hours. And then when I did, I had the most frightful dreams.
Oh.
Couldn't face the piano this
Well, you're
morning.
going to have to. Well, do try and eat some of this.
Oh, no, Aunt Phyllis.
Well, at least the hot milk.
Yes.
Oh, very well.
Well, what did you dream about, Vicky?
That I was at the audition and there was something wrong with my hands. They turned to bananas, and no matter what I played, a completely different tune would come out of the piano.
Oh, dear.
And the two examiners just sat there and stared and said nothing. And they were two large blackbirds with pince nez, very solemn.
Oh, well, that's just ridiculous. Yes. They're both delightful. And Sir John in particular is the kindest man imaginable. He told me that when he took his audition, he was shaking like a leaf.
Then I had another funny dream, a much more real one this time. It was about Granny. Well, you remember it was she who got Gates to build my platform in the cedar tree? Well, I dreamt I was much younger, and I saw Granny coming out of the house. She looked lovely. She was much younger, and she was wearing a long, wispy summer dress and a big straw hat. And she came up to me and smiled and kissed me and said goodbye and walked off down the road.
Yeah. Well, I expect it was something that rarely happened in your childhood, and you were sort of remembering it. Oh, Vicky, I've got something for you. It's a sort of good luck token. I've been saving it for today. It used to be over the piano in our house at Eton. Here.
Oh, Schubert. Oh, Grandpa, it's lovely.
Well, I'm glad you like it.
Oh, it's an absolutely lovely present. Thank you.
Well, it's nothing really, but it did belong to your other grandmother, and I know she'd have liked you to have it.
Charles, it's exquisite.
Yeah.
Listen, everyone, do you know what the time is?
What?
Oh, come on, Vicky,
Come on now, you better take a taxicab.
Oh, no, Charles, it's only a few minutes' walk.
Nonsense, most important to arrive in style on an occasion like this. Might rain at any minute. Now, I insist on paying for it.
Charles.
Take that, Phyllis, that's right. Come along, my dear. There's nothing worse than unpunctuality. Oh.
Thank you for my lovely present.
Not at all. Good luck. I know you'll do splendidly.
Good luck, Vic. Thanks, Liz.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear.
Oh, you're a lovely and thoughtful grandfather.
Oh, rubbish, rubbish. I know what these fares are nowadays. Liz, do you know that my taxicab from Paddington Station to Baker Street yesterday cost me 3 and 2pence?
Grandpa, there's something I'd like to talk to you about.
Yes?
Well, it's something I hate even putting into words. But it's got to be said, and you're the only person I can turn to.
Oh, dearie me. Well, come on, out with it.
Well, it's about Daddy and Mrs. Cartland. And I just pray that it's not true and that I'm being a mean and horrid and suspicious daughter.
Better go on.
Well, you know that they used to be good friends before.
Yes, it was 1923, wasn't it? They were out in Hong Kong together.
That's right. They were dancing partners. They played tennis together. And Daddy was her father's flag lieutenant, that sort of thing. Well, since the Cartlands have moved into Layford, she and Daddy have been seeing rather a lot of each other. Particularly since Mummy and Anne moved out to Freiburg.
Go on.
Well, his movements have become so unpredictable and, well, mysterious. First of all, he was supposed to be going to a meeting at the Admiralty, and suddenly he went straight off to Germany without a warning, without even a telephone call to us.
Yes, but that was to see your mother and Anne.
Well, that's what we all thought. But as it turned out, he was only with them for a few hours. And the rest of the time, well, no one knows where he was. Mrs. Cartland happened to be skiing in St. Moritz at the same time. Oh, by herself. She and Daddy came back to Larkfield on the same train together. It was so blatant, I even asked Daddy about it as a sort of half-joke.
Well?
He was terribly evasive about it. He never really answered at all. And then there are the times when she comes to see Daddy privately at home, and they disappear into his study for hours at a time. But once you were there.
Yes, I remember. It was at Christmas.
Oh, that's right.
And what else?
Well, where is he now?
But, Liz, dear, we've talked about that. Travel on the continent at the moment is chaotic.
Yes, but, Grandpa, if he's stranded, why hasn't he sent us a wire, as Mrs. Cartland did, her husband?
You tell me why.
Because the wire would say where it was sent from.
And the wire might come from the same place as... Yes, I see. Now, her husband told you about this wire, did he?
Yes.
Did he, was he suspicious in any way?
Well, that's the oddest thing of all. Yesterday, he seemed to drop a hint that they could be in Paris together.
Huh? Oh, good gracious me. Did he actually say that?
Well, no, not directly. Well, I may have misunderstood.
Well, he's a rum sort of chap and no mistake. I don't mean he's just out of a different draw from us, but
Grandpa,
well...
Grandpa, don't hold it against me for having such suspicions. I really have been in agony about it.
Liz, now let's get one thing absolutely straight. We both love your father, and we both believe in him. Otherwise, we couldn't talk like this.
Yes, but Grandpa, you see, Daddy and that woman being closeted together while you were there.
Yes. Well, what happened after that?
The visit to the Admiralty.
Did he stay the night in London?
Yes.
At his club or here in the flat?
Oh, no, at the Naval and Military.
And as far as you know, he left the Admiralty en route for Germany?
Yes. Well, I actually don't know where he stayed that night.
You don't happen to know whom he saw at the Admiralty?
Oh, no. We all presumed it was to do with Daddy being on the reserve list and the fleet being mobilised over the row with Mussolini.
Yes, well, that's what he thought, too.
What?
Well, we discussed it, you see, after the letter from the Admiralty arrived.
Well, Grandpa, you never said.
No, well, he asked me to treat it confidentially. He didn't want any of you to be worried.
Oh, I see.
But in view of what you've just told me, look, he was summoned to room 13.
What does that mean?
Liz, you know that Mrs. Cartland's father is still serving.
What?
Admiral Sir Michael Burrell. I don't know what job he does, of course, but there could be some connection.
And is room 13 anything to do with the reserve?
No, I'm afraid I've no idea.
But there must be a connection. But what?
Liz, Vicky should be starting playing about now. Let's think about her for a bit.
Grandpa?
Ah, Liz, my dear. Now, you're not to go on worrying about this wretched Mrs. Cartland. And you're to trust your father.
Of course I trust him.
And you're to believe in him, because I am quite sure there's a simple explanation for all this.
Yes, but what?
My dear Liz, I'm just a simple old schoolmaster. Shall we wash up? May we come in, sister?
Oh, please do, Mr. Ashley. Good afternoon, Miss Bourne.
Good afternoon.
Well, how is she?
She's very much better.
Oh, good. Oh, I say, she's made a jolly good tea.
Yes, indeed she has. At 3 o'clock, she suddenly sat up and announced she wanted something to eat and some hot tea. And at the moment, she's actually taking a telephone call.
Well, isn't that splendid?
Well, it's too soon for phone calls, really. But this was a rather special one, apparently.
Well, not from overseas, from France or Germany.
No, I don't think so. I think I heard, could it have been Croydon Aerodrome?
No, of course not, my dear boy. I'm very much better, and I can't tell you how lovely it is to hear your voice. Well, Gates was exaggerating, as he sometimes does. But what about you? We've all been so worried about you. Oh, yes. Yeah. All right, my dear. Oh, it'll be so lovely to see you. Well, till then, goodbye. Charles, sister, oh, someone do come in.
Mr. Ashley and Miss Bourne.
I know, I heard that. Elizabeth, my darling.
Alice,
Charles.
my dear.
Oh, I've got such good news.
Yes, we thought something must have happened.
Arthur on the telephone. He's quite all right, but absolutely exhausted. He's just come down at Croydon Aerodrome.
Oh.
How did he know you were here?
He rang Larkfield as soon as he could get to a telephone. And Gates told him of all the sillinesses that had been happening to me. And then he couldn't get any reply from Phyllis's flat. And oh, it was so wonderful to hear him.
Croydon? Well, that means he should be here in just over 3/4 of an hour. Liz, we better not stay long.
Oh, don't be silly, Charles. You can't start talking about leaving when you've only just arrived.
But we don't want to tire you just as you're beginning to feel better.
I still don't see why he couldn't have sent us a wire at some
Oh,
stage.
yes, he explained that. You see, his connecting train from Hamburg was cancelled without notice, but he managed to get a seat on an airliner from Baden-Baden. That should have got him to Croydon more quickly than the train.
Yes, it would.
But you know what those aeroplanes are, always coming down to fill up with whatever it is they fill up with.
Petrol, Alice, dear.
Yes, that's right. Well, it seems that because of all the unrest, some of that petrol didn't arrive, so there was nothing for them but to sit in the aeroplane at place after place for hours on end. Poor Arthur couldn't get out to send us a wire, and the pilot wasn't allowed to send private messages,
So the poor boy just sat there at Metz, Luxembourg, Liège, Brussels, going mad out of his mind because he knew how worried we should be.
Oh, Granny, it's so marvellous that he's all right.
Oh, isn't it lovely, my darling?
I hope I never have to go through anything as ghastly as that again, as long as I live.
It sounded splendid to
It was
me.
frightful. I've never played so badly in my life, and my pen kept making blots on the theory paper.
But they were all very nice to you.
That only made things worse. Are you sure they've got this number?
Of course.
Taking their time.
My dear girl, you're very lucky to get the result the same day. I had to wait a fortnight. It was only because Sir John's going on holiday and, well, a few strings pulled.
What will I do if I fail?
Oh, don't be so silly.
I've never thought of that. Oh, goodness me, what will I do if I fail? I suppose I'll have to get married or something.
Oh, what a dreadful end.
Oh, I'm sorry, Aunt Phyllis, I didn't mean...
Failure doesn't arise.
I'm just making sure it's working. Sometimes they go wrong, you know.
Vicky, I wish you'd go and have a nice hot bath and a lie down. You got hardly any sleep last night.
Langham 2315. Hello, Miss Bourne speaking. Who? No, Mr. Ashley is not here at the moment. Yes, I'll take a message. Yes. Yes, I've got it. Very well. Goodbye. That was Roger from the Foreign Office to tell Grandpa that the man is conscious now and he's a grocer from Barnstaple called Mr. Horace. Is it a joke?
Langham 2315. Yes, this is Miss Phyllis Bourne speaking. I see. Well, if you'd like to speak to her yourself, she's standing right beside me. It's the Royal Academy of Music. I want to speak to you.
Who does?
Sir John McEwen's secretary.
Hello. Yes, this is Miss Victoria Bourne speaking.
So you'll be well enough to go to Larkfield for Easter. Nanny can look after you.
I shan't need any looking after.
Alice, nonsense. My dear, you've been very ill.
Oh, well, it will be nice. We might have some music, Charles. I should love that.
Oh.
Granny, what on earth are all these?
Oh, I thought you'd be sure to know. I asked the doctor exactly what was wrong with me, and he drew this. That is the bottom of my left lung, in case you don't recognize it. And this is where the bronchi are seated.
Well, what are these funny little squiggly things down at the bottom?
Oh, those are the rowels, Charles.
Rails?
No, rowels. R-A circumflex L-E-S. Where the moist noises come from.
Oh.
Well, really, Charles, you are a dunce.
Oh.
Hello, this is Winchley 8 speaking. Oh, from London. Yes, all right. Hello? Oh, good afternoon, Miss Elizabeth.
I'm just ringing to tell you and Nanny and Mrs. Gates that there's been some tremendous good news.
No, just a little higher. Can't you? Yeah, yes, that's better. Oh, do hurry. He'll be here any minute.
Lady Bourne, they've just rung up from the desk. Commander Bourne has arrived and he's on his way up in the lift.
Oh, thank God. Oh, dear, what a hanky. Oh, what a fool I am, really.
Oh, all right, Miss Elizabeth. I'll tell him. Thank you. Goodbye. Eileen! Nanny! Lady Bourne's so much better, and she's going to be all right.